like Genius and Twisted decided that they can afford to share Yasnaya, as we see of the teams who qualified on PGS points. 2 will be competing in the last chance qualifier, and that is Twisted Minds and Sonics. Now, that being said, Toby, all year long in international events, Twisted Minds have shown up in the biggest possible way when their backs are against the wall and the threat of going home is real.
And I think that can be said about both these two teams, because I mean, you kind of coined Twisted Minds as the undisputed lower bracket champions, because they have been in the past.
2 wins in a row.
A good thing for them is that they've also managed to qualify straight through. This time, though, not quite the case. So assuming, and obviously you could see off the fantasy picks too, a lot of people assuming that both Sonics and Twisted Minds are going to be able to make top 8 here. And honestly, I'd be surprised if they don't. Having said that, they did have moments throughout those both group stages and their brackets where they just did not seem like their former selves, didn't seem like regional champions, respectively.
True. I got to say, the thing that stuck out to me the most about Twisted Minds was the emergency pickup strategies, trying to send 1, maybe 2 to do a little scouting while the others were following in vehicles. It seemed like that never really paid off for them. It seemed like they got punished for it more often than not. And Sonics, well, 10 points in one day, that's just bad. Yep. I mean, that's just bad all the way around. There's no really 2 ways around it. So, you know, now that being said, it's very rare that you see a team like Sonics have 2 incredibly bad days in a row. So Sonics may be one of those teams that are going to benefit from being able to have that poor performance and then come back the very next day with a fresh slate in play.
We saw the highlights from Petrichor Road, and I feel like that game we saw highlighted there in particular, even though they didn't come out and win it, it was still one of those where that's where they figured things out. That's where kind of the switch went on, and they started going, wait, we can actually control this game mode, and just started fragging out. And again, I mean, for most teams in this lobby, it just takes that one game. It might not even be an entire game. It could be 2 good fights. It could be 1 circle shift that favors you, that gets your momentum going, that gets your just puts you up that extra 1% to fight your way on through it. And I think not only Petrichor, but many other teams are just that 1 good shift away from that happening.
It's the question always for any of these teams, any team in anything really, is when you have a really successful day, how do you replicate the mentality that you had while that day was going on? I think it makes it a lot easier if you have a good game to start things off.
Oh, yeah, of course.
They are dead center on Death Road right now as Petrichor Road. We'll see what they can do from their Genius, as we mentioned. We're looting up in Yasnaya with Twisted Minds, got out ahead of Twisted Minds, and now they find themselves in a little bit of a 2-2 split. Very surrounded here, but again, it's Erangel. Pretty much everybody knows where to be expecting peaks from.
And for those of you guys who don't have the map stream open, for starters, I strongly recommend that you do. But
enhance your experience.
Secondly, I will tell you this much. There's a surprisingly big amount of water still in the southern side, as we see. There's the Dutch and Weave. We'll get out of that one alive. Surprisingly much space on the southern side as well, which means that we're effectively having all but 1 player on the northern half of this first circle. That's why you're seeing very early game fights here. Even again, like with a team like Gen G, like one of the most passive teams in all of PUBG, even they are starting to go out hunting because they know, great, everyone is going to be playing the main island here. We're going to be, like, the amount of square kilometer available is just halved. So, so that's why you're seeing them taking fights early. They want to make space for themselves so they can spread out wider later in the game.
Is worth noting that D plus Kia, we saw using M16s, so you kind of wonder about what their loot situation might be looking like. SKS in hand as well, so maybe a little bit lighter on the guns, maybe, than the... look, hey,
don't you talk down the SKS,
I will talk down the SKS all I want. Minuta sitting there holding on to it. You can see Pio just listening for the footsteps. Everybody very close, but again, this is very well-traveled terrain for every team in this lobby. They know exactly where not to peek, what they can get away with.
And also, most importantly, I think in this particular situation, is they're well aware that if we're already 2 teams here, there's a good chance there's a third that hasn't really announced their presence yet. So if we start fighting, and again, if we don't instantly wipe the opponents, we will get backstep. Now let's see, though. Pio continues to push on forward, finds Zenith instantly, but has to back off.
Quick spray for Pio, as you said. He gets knocked very low. Not going to be taken out, though. Zhangu has the angle. Americano up close with the grenade. Will put it right on top, but it won't find Pio. Americano already here for the revive, getting some protection. Actually, yep, throw him in the vehicle. Good play there from Americano. Might keep his teammate in this, as Gen G will try to push, but they will get most likely held off by Menuda and Zhangu.
And this is where Gen G has to reconsider. Great, we got the knock, we push on forward, we now know who we're up against, but are we willing to fully commit to this? We can see that there's still plenty of space for them to maneuver, but Gen G has not yet had a chance to scout north of where they currently are. And I feel like even though right now they won't get punished, if they play with this aggression all the way through, that could come to bite them eventually.
And as you mentioned before the fight even started, there's always that potential of a third party coming up over the top. Right now, they've got all the freedom to move around, but Ascend is starting to creep down from the north. Looks like DK is going to just hop into vehicles after the res has come through, and they'll just dip down into Milton.
And, I mean, for Gen G, this is, I mean, just cross it off as mission accomplished. We might not have gotten a kill, but look at the amount of space they just got. They claimed the entirety of Lumber by themselves by quite literally just pushing two people forward and have a vehicle wrap around the side. D+ Kia doesn't want any of that. Makes perfect sense, because why would you with this early on in the game? And Gen G gets to now take full control of this hill. That's the Gen G that I like to see. The Gen G that wants to play edge, but dares to force teams away, dares to enable themselves to play to their own liking. Normally we see them being the ones backed off and then just kind of get shoved into the corner and then die because of it. Here, they're saying we want to play edge, and you're not getting any piece of it. Smart play. Smart play.
The chest puffing Gen G,
exactly.
The Gen G that knows that it is one of the best teams in the lobby. It's been a while since we've seen them show their face, but we did see them start, for lack of a better word, having fun in the losers bracket. They find themselves here, and it's looking good so far here as DK pushing on the beach. Now you can see on the mini-map, Ascend right behind them. Brexco already out of the vehicle with the mini in hand, taking shots over in the direction. Will land a couple, do a little bit of damage, but no knocks coming through. New circle pops, and it goes off to the west. So D+ Kia are going to have to be on the move, knowing that they have somebody right behind them, and yep, immediately back into vehicles.
It wouldn't be an wrangled game if Pentagram weren't sat in the center of phase number 1, as they now sat on the western side. From beside compound, though, in the meantime, rotations are bound. And the first casualty here is going to be Batulins. Once again, I hate to say it, but Twisted Minds, as we're going to see a code on screen in a second, Twisted Minds just cannot seem to get out of this losing one player early kind of situation. And it's really hurting them.
And again, it was sending Lou on parachute here as we see another fight breaking out as D+ Kia has run into a roadblock in the form of Tai Lu. Zhao Yang will be the one to get 2 knocks here. Shen has been taken down. Tongmu already low as well. D+ Kia now down to just Zhangu. He is looking around, trying to find an angle to take this fight. Zhao Yang looking right back at him. Flashbang in hand will come through, will land. Zhangu will win the fight with LZ though, and he keeps himself alive, and D+ Kia in this game.
Yep, now Ascend is coming on the side here as well. You'd have to imagine that this is just seconds from ending, and indeed it will be. 2 knocks do come through, so it's really up to Ascend now to determine whether this fight is going to continue or if this is where it's going to end.
Reset, reset, reset. The smokes are down. The wall is keeping them alive, but you can see Mika already sending it in. He might find LZ here. He's going to see him crawling away. That's a nice free point picked up for Ascend, and Micah will find Shen as well as Ascend solo man sent in. Kiliakai now joining him as well. Chris behind him as well. This could be Tai Lu in a bad way.
I mean, I'll repeat what I said about Gen G just before and just put it right on top of Ascend. A passive team normally in the early game, but here they eye the opportunity to go out and get things done early. And again, a team that really wants to get that momentum going in the start of the game will be able to do so. Mika found the flush on 1, found 2 knocks now as well. As Zhao Yang falls once more. Tongmu trying to stay alive, but he's all alone.
Got that AUG in hand. The smoke's still down. He might be able to get this res on the Zhao Yang. He needs to get a knock, though. He needs to find some way to slow Ascend down, as Legacy has now started creeping down here as well. You can see him just on the edge of your mini-map. I believe that's RBN. Still in the vehicle, though. Not too terribly interested in pushing. Tongmu will try to climb up the stairs. Should be able to get this revive as the smoke wall is going to slow things down just enough.
And now Ascent. What do you do about this? I mean, staircases, pushes, shotguns, you already know they have one. It just screams bad idea to me. So see what you can do. It was my idea with utility. Try and find them from afar. If you really want to make sure that you're already with the same game plan in mind to make this play. Don't run in alone, Mika. That has got danger written all over it.
That is, as you said, extremely dangerous decision-making there, as you see Etangmu with the shotty in hand. Xiao Yang right there with him, holding the staircase. Mika all by himself right here. Brex holding the line back here. It looks like Mika, maybe they're trying to force them into positions where maybe Brex and Chris on the other side of the road can find an angle and get the shots in. The grenade will do just nicely, though. Killiakai going to find Zhao Yang with the blue zone. And now here comes the push from Mika. Be careful, Shotty. He's going to close the door. Mika, another grenade. Etangmu going to get Killiakai with that one, and he's staying alive somehow, some way. He's going to find Brex as well. Mika very low. Etangmu with the Shotty in hand. Can he pull off the impossible?
Oh, and Brex had a molly in hand, too, so he is going to be confirmed. Now the double blue zone nade comes in. That's going to get the confirm onto Killiakai as well. Again, it had the danger written, no whip, and Etangmu somehow, despite supposedly being down and out early, will at least find 2 to 4 Ascent. One push too far on this one, I'm afraid.
There is no such thing as an easy kill in this lobby, Toby. As we see now, Genius and Petrichor Road taking the fight with each other on the western side of Ferry Pier. New Happy is off to the west as well. Could third party into this at any time, but it looks like from the kill feed, they're pretty busy themselves with Legacy.
Yep, trying to hold off here now. Finally, this fight has to come to an end if you're Ascent. You want to play away on him, but now there's 2v1, and when you have shotguns to work with, oh, this could really go either way. Chris, though, able to finally finish this one. But for Ascent, what a tough one to lose 2 players on.
Unbelievable. Good pre-fire there from Chris, saving the game here for Ascent. But as you said, 2 down. They are definitely going to wish they had that one back here. New Happy starting to flex a little bit here. They were raging bulls during the group stage, but they basically just disappeared altogether during the winners bracket, finishing in last place after finishing in first in groups. And now it looks like they're finding a little bit more of their footing here. 3 kills already, taking up a lot of space around Ferry Pier.
He had it. Lobbing some shots over with the mortar towards Veronica 7, I would imagine. Either them all the way up on the mountainside or maybe towards Foot eSports closer. But no, these shots are definitely going in this direction. We'll see if anything connects as the shots come through. Nope. Still a bit too far, and there's not really any chance for them to spot or peek on over and try and readjust on this one.
DG98 actually creeping up here. He's got PO from range, feeding him over information, but Heaven now has an angle on PO. He's got to be careful here. Tosi with the mortar in hand still as well. This could be dangerous stuff coming through. Going to be interesting to see how they decide to play that one here. As we check back in with December 12th, we see what New Happy did to Legacy in rotation. It was pretty disgusting.
DG98, you said him before, he is the one that's currently creeping up behind. If they are not aware of his position, oh, he falls back. I thought he was going to make an aggressive play, but you can see Glasses smoke deployment there. Should eye the information across that they know of his whereabouts. So Veronica 7 able to stay alive through this one, but now well aware that they have Gen G right over the hill.
Indeed they do. Blue Zone has arrived, and that might have played a little bit of a factor in Gen G, although I can still see DG98 still creeping back over in that direction. They maybe a little bit of miscommunication here. The circle will cut north, as it is going to do in that water, thankfully, as yeah, DG, I mean, it seems like they keep going back and forth on their decision here. DG98 will open up with a 6x M4 spray. He's got to be careful, though. Adder has an angle.
Yeah, goes wide out into the blue, actually, to get that angle as well. So trying to outbrain the Veronica 7 Fortress that is currently set up outside this circle. Pentagram inside, Foot inside. I feel like this is, I mean, Gen G's decision to make. Do we take the fight here and try and spread out wider on the western edge? Or do we kind of just give it up and hope that Veronica 7 pulls up on something that allows for us to set up a third party?
It looks like Veronica 7 in. Vehicles are going to leave that, as you see Twisted Minds just making sure their backs are clear on that eastern edge. Vard will find Tosi as V7 now down to 3. They found themselves a little bit of a home, but Foot eSports right next door have grenades in hand, trying to send back in. Not going to find any damage just yet. Heaven having to slow down, heal himself up, and he's going to spot out, I believe that's Space Station Gaming off in the distance.
Loving the fact that we saw Perfectix look far and wide into the blue just a second ago, looking for those final ascent players. Little does you know, they drove to military and are currently swimming, I should say, all the way over towards the new ferry pier. So pretty smart on their part. We'll see if it comes to reward them. But Twisted Minds finally, I think, realizing, you know what, we stuck around for long enough. Let's actually start playing now.
Yep, trying to go for the long wrap up to the north. They realize that New Happy has complete control over that ferry pier. They don't want any real part of that. So they'll try their luck on the north side instead. Shrimzy finding out Heaven here. As we see the Sonic boys still 3 deep. They've lost Tiggleton early, but oh, there it is. We were wondering when the grenades from Foot might come through. Space Station has an angle on this as well. Heaven's going to go down again. Glass now, the last player up, has to avoid the exploding vehicle, but it's all bad news here. As now Twisted Minds has been spotted out by Sonics. That's going to be Perfectix being picked out. Again, this is just Compound and Compounds alone out victorious in this area of the map. It's so difficult to play in the open, especially when all those 4 compounds up on that northern side are still in play. Teams trying to take fights, trying to spread out as best as they can, but just not possible. Because Spirit already now, it's rare that you're in phase 4, kind of concede a game, but he is, I think, really considering how the hell do I get into this next circle. Heads up play from Falcons to make sure that they are in position, and they will steal away Sonic's knocks and gain 2 points for themselves. And there it is, Beamy. The first grenade wasn't that great. That one's right where it needs to be, as Foot picks up now 2 kills on Beamy. 3 kills in total. Yep, solid Nate lopped on over. He did spend 6 or 7 trying to find the knock, but we won't show that. Just to show the one right on point, and he gets himself the kill with it. Of course, they know that they have Genji still up on the hillside behind him, so they're going to be setting that compound at least for a little while longer as the circle shifts out towards the east. Okay, Space Station 4 strong. This could be a nice little start for them. It's going to be rough, though. There's still a lot of players left on the field, 40 alive, as now Genji tries to make a rotation right between Foot and Pentagram. They're going to lose Pio just like that. Foot eSports in a good position. H-Wing going to find T-Bone, so that might pause Foot's hold just a little bit, as DG98 will get taken down as he's hopping into the window. And now Petrichor Road and Genius fighting just outside of Circle, Toby. So many fights taking place now as the Circle starts creeping on in just about 20 seconds time. Genji will be dealt with as Petrichor down to just 2, trying to stay put here. Of course, Genie is aware of this, but now we have Question Mark rugging up on this one as well. Beautiful timing from Question Mark. Let's see if they can get some points for their troubles, as Surti will get shot in the back. Won't go down, though. Yuta still holding the line, and now Yuta, actually good spray, will find one. He'll get Phil first. The smoke wall getting laid down. Phil first will find Yuta with the grenade. Do they have time? Oh, that's a good grenade from Ming. Will do some damage, won't get the knock. Ike's left will follow it up, and now Question Mark, just like that, came at a perfect time for the third party, Toby, but they go down. Question Mark had no idea that just over the ridge line they were there. They saw the smoke plume, but I think they thought that was defensive smokes on the side of Genius to try and fall back. Caught by surprise there, and really smart reactive play from both Ming and Ikeslef, who had barely even gotten back on their feet, both of them, before they executed that play.
Hello.
We remember the Ascend Swimmy boys. They've made their way into the south side of the circle. We saw them. Sonics, meanwhile, still on that north side, have yet to make their way into zone. They're going to try their luck with a few mortars. Maybe clear themselves a space as we check a replay here of Asla Pentagram finishing off Genji just a little bit earlier. And overall, Genji, despite what we saw earlier, would look to be pretty good stuff from them. 0 kills, 0 points in this first round.
Rotations and rotations and then some more rotations. Again, I mean, I admire their aggression. They forced teams back, but eventually those teams they took fights to were just too good at playing the defensive ends. And for Pentagram too, I mean, they opt to aggress. They opt to say, no, we will not share this compound with you, and go out and take them out. Pentagram also a team who in previous tournaments have played very passive and would potentially have allowed for Genji to sit and have their compound, but this time around didn't, and now they get to reap the rewards.
Okay, let's reset here for the end. 25 still alive, 8 teams up Petrichor Road. Now trying to square off with Ascend. It's Chris has been taken down. Mika now the last player up, but he's got to worry about New Happy shooting him in the back. As the Pentagram also have an angle onto this. It's going to force Ming into a crevasse as Mika will be laying down prone. Will find Ikeslep before he can find him. The blue has arrived. The new circle pops. SSG gets love once again. And this is going to have to finish off here to be quickly.
The Island Migrator is actually rewarded for the push on over. Issue is now one falls. Mika, you'd imagine, will try and go for the flush. Indeed, he will get the kill onto Ikeslep as Ming now. Solo play left alive from...
mu je simpatično ceo rep B, čisto B.
Sometimes those grenades just land right where you want them to. Ming still alive here. Perpetual Road will hop in the Dacia. The smoke wall still up briefly here as we get to look and see how Foot was eliminated in Space Station. The long range angles will finish them off. Ming now trying to decide, scout out where, where can we go as we now see Sonic's still actually pinned down outside of the zone here.
This would be the time to start slapping them over because they're really starting to eliminate the potential positions that people could play from, but I don't think they have any more to work. Uglavnom,
tako nešto oko do 50 €, šta znam.
Genji just before will be able to spread out, take control. Hikari kind of the first move on that one, setting up shop further towards the western side. In the meantime now, for Legacy, that should be at least one down, and indeed it is.
Right in his pocket, and December 12th will follow up with one on the left side. Fortunately for him, BHC will be dancing, keeps his dancing shoes on here and avoiding it for the time being. Down to 43 HP. New Happy does have to be careful because they are taking shots, I believe, from Falcons, possibly Pentagram as well. Although there goes Sonics. They were pinned up against the wall. Not much they could do there. And now it is December 12th. The rest of New Happy trying to push across here and finish off what's left of Legacy.
You're seeing Nate speed swap for flashes. That's usually a pretty good go sign, and indeed it is. Pushing on over. Those spots, them catches the first one. Second one down to low HP as well. If he lands a god nade here, there could be two more down. There's that completely on top of one another.
Preskače neke grede. Vidi, znači betonsku gredu dado visine pa 1 metar. Preskoči u cugu, samo malo se dotakne. Bukvalno mislim da leti 2 metra.
Has a vehicle to hide behind. Akkad will get flushed out. Falcons 4 kills, 4 strong on the southeastern side of the circle.
Yep, the teams with compounds to work with early are the teams that will be rewarded for the pretty much always in this area of the map. I like the split that Falcons have set up here with Emmy up on the northern side, trying to kind of deny any sort of vision from Space Station Gaming, not wanting them to start flexing out and potentially catch them from behind. They want to take the pace of this one, and they do that by having Emmy up on that northern side.
Emmy, as you said, could be absolutely huge. We have to keep eyes on him. Now you see SSG still in a 2-2 split.
A ne znaš kako, ne držim u džaku, imamo njihovu kantu, dobio od njih i onda
keep eyes on New Happy. We see how Sonics got eliminated right there. Asla, they do lose one for their push down to the south. The new zone does pop. It is going to favor Page and Sharpshot inside that compound, but now Roth and Pixel will have to be on the move.
Yeah. They just group up on it once they... Because the thing is, there's nowhere Falcons can play on the eastern side of what this, like where they're currently having to go. And for Pentagram towards the west as well, once they go in, they should be good because Falcons will be too busy, I would imagine, trying to figure out how they maneuver. And you can see it pretty much on both sides. It's just a valley going down, and both will be visible to one another in just a second's time.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here for all of our teams, really. SSG doesn't have to do anything except for Turtle. Meanwhile, New Happy has to kind of hope that Falcons and Pentagram start fighting. Falcons, meanwhile, are just going to take it right to the jaw of New Happy. I'm not sure how much utility they've got. See, Emmy has pretty much nothing in the bag right there. Be a grenade sent to out from Ming Ming. It's going to do damage, but it won't get the knock.
Not with the knife, haven't on that position.
Možda ubere nešto u juniorskim ovim neku nagradicu pa
No, it's both him and Zilson.
da on sad neće biti junior. Dokoliko spadaju pod junior?
Allow for something to happen. You can see because Pentagram is currently suppressing Space Station. They can't really third party. They're just going to remain a two-way fight.
Opens up a door, and that's all that New Happy needs. Capitan, now the last player alive, has a rock to hide behind. But you can see the throwables, the utility all coming out here as Ming Ming will charge forth and try to take out this final player for the Falcons. Yes, he will. New Happy. They have been sleeping for the past 2 days, but they are woke woke now.
Back in business, a lot of people doubted them, myself included. They had a phenomenal end to the group stage, but then, or to the loser bracket, sorry, but it's just been so much up and down. But I really hope for New Happy that they can get things going on with this game here.
Opens up a door here with that knock on the Hikari. Space Station starting to gang together. Thinking about leaving their hard cover, but not pulling it off just yet. They don't have an idea of exactly where New Happy is. So Hikari should be able to be revived here. Wicked, the rest of the Pentagram boys still have a little bit of high ground here. That's a very limited amount of high ground hard cover that they can kind of play behind. And New Happy, as you said, still backs up against the wall. We'll see where this next zone decides to take us.
Whoever gets it should be the victor. Right now, well, it has SSG in it. They're on the northern edge, but as you can see here, with the terrain laid out the way that it is, both these two teams will be within SSG vision once they make their way into the circle. That's why now you're starting to see Sharpshot way up on the roof. Space Station Gaming players starting to flex out a bit with one of the teams eliminated just before.
Adder once again gonna go down.
Voleo bih da ostanem,
mislim, ne znam,
rekao bih da je dobra hrana, da je masna, da je...
just off to the side here. Adder has crawled away, but they know the push is coming. The smoke wall laid down. Hikari lying prone. Wicked trying to work his way around the smoke. Won't be able to get the res onto Adder. He's going to try to go for it, but he gets picked out by CC108. Wicked going to go down to the grenade, and just like that, Pentagram is eliminated. The knock, though, on the CC108. Will Space Station capitalize?
We'll see. We'll see if they can make their way out fast enough. Rob is only now starting to make the pressure on Page, setting up a flank. And the thing is, they have the dodge. They know that New Happy has to come to them. So rather than aggressing up and over into a fight where, I mean, you literally cannot get up there in time to deny the res, might as well sit back and say, you know, we'll play the 4v4 instead of the 4v3, but we still have the upper hand. Again, keep in mind, Space Station haven't had to take too many close quarter fights, so they should have vests, should have helmets, and probably utility too. But where you see here on December 12th, literally no utility to work with.
13 kills from New Happy already. They have definitely shown up here today to start things off with the last chance qualifier in a big way. Space Station 6 for themselves, also not doing too bad, not too shabby. We'll see if they can clutch out the victory here. They've got, as you said, right on the dot, but this terrain is going to be very difficult to work with. You can see New Happy starting to spread out, get multiple angles onto this, and if they can spot out these SSG guys, they might be in trouble.
Keep in mind that New Happy just came off of a 12-game series where they got 14 points in total.
2 days.
They're going to end up here with more points in one game than they had in 12 matches over the past 2 days. So no wonder people doubt them, but they already showed us in the group stages what they're capable of. So glad to see when it matters most, they're able to, at least for starters, be able to go back and replicate some of that.
Extremely dangerous squad. They've showed it multiple times. It's just the consistency that might be lacking from time to time here, as we see they're trying to lay down a little bit of a smoke wall to play around. They have no idea where these SSG guys are. Pixel has pulled away. They're not hanging out on the roof anymore. They're just holding the dot. They've got the hard cover. There's no vehicles to worry about here either. They're very close to each other, though. It's a little bit dangerous.
This is a setup that you rarely ever see. You can see Pixel is trying to bait the attention. They have Page on the off-angle flank, and then you have two spoiler players, two surprise elements effectively that can pop up and take you out. But this is not something you see execute often. They're very reliant right now on these two surprise players being able to do just that. Nate's now being locked on over multiple of that. You'd have to imagine that December 12th falls, so this has to keep on crawling as the blue zone is on his back.
It's a good job from Page to feed that information over to the forward line of Sharpshot and Roth. They were ready, grenades in hand. They were just waiting to find out where to throw them. As December 12 will get the heel off, he's going to keep snaking his way forward, see if he can maybe find an angle. He'll find Roth, or he finds Sharpshot rather. Page going to immediately trade it back though. They get the flush as well, and now New Happy trying to peek forward. Peek Pixel, he's finding ahead. He's not going to get the knock. Roth, 1 HP, and the grenade will do it. CC is down. Ming, the last player up for New Happy, does so much damage to Page. No knocks coming through, and just like that, that SSG will collect the first win of the last chance qualifier.
Again, different strats being put to use, and I think it might have caught New Happy a little bit off guard there. That's
Ovaj, debeli, jo.
Ma ne, ovaj...
A Page. Nije to Page.
Ne, Page, debil. Duke,
Legenda, brat.
ovo je last chance, brate, pretežak jebate.
Ja
Sad sam
sam
skontao,
pratio sam
brate.
meč sad sa telefonom.
Pa bar jedno 9 timova ti želiš da imaš u finalu.
Hvala. Ja
Ali igraju i
bolje
oni 12 gameova.
12 game, danas i sutra po 6.
A trebali su 6 gameova da stavimo.
Koliko igraju?
2 dana. Top 8 ide dalje. I
Šta
oni
je?
se,
Aha, to pas.
ja, i oni se
Dulke,
spajaju s
Twisted se
onim.
raspada. Twisted nikad gori, brate.
No, nešto je baš.
Sad će Batulin da ga nabrane.
Sad će doći.
Jebote, znaš da imam utisak... A, Dulki, znaš kako je Accent trolao, si gledao?
Šta?
Accent kako je istrolao ovdje. Brate, da.
Jebote,
Čekaj,
će ispadnu u stoji. A da, ima dosta da se igralo ako nastave.
A pazi, mnogo inteligentan push, sve su ispratili lepo.
Ne, ja govorim za Pirt, ovaj.
A, Twisted je, boga mi, brate, ništa nisu pokazali, koliko god ih gledaš, brate, sve loše i loše.
I mean, that's what it is. You make the most of the ones you get. They got some circles. They did walk away with a very nice.
A zanimljiva ekipa SSG, realno.
Another team who played incredibly well. New Happy. They did look.
Jebote, oni su jedva
How do I
prošli.
say out of sorts, discombobulated,
Jedva su
bamboozled when
prošli
it came
ovaj
to the last
Gde?
bracket, and now here they are a totally awoken
loser
team.
bracket. Jedva
Monsters,
za bod.
absolutely in this lobby.
A misliš, jedva su ispali?
Ne,
E,
oni su igrali
halo.
loser bracket.
Aha.
Ovo ti je last chance, ti je top 8 iz loser bracketa.
Da. A je li ispao neko dobar, to te nisam pitao.
I mean, that's the big question. One
Za
game
sad
in,
nije niko.
SSG, New Happy, all the teams on the top, will they continue that progression?
Iz
Because
loser
we only
bracketa je
have
otišlo
12
kući.
games to make the
Potom
statement.
8,
Do
ali
you
nije
get to be
niko
in
od
the
ovih
top 8 and chase your
kažem,
dreams or bottom 8?
favorita.
And it all ends right here. And so that's what we're going to be tracking throughout the
Pa
day.
dobro,
and set
4
the
AM
stage
nismo
for
baš
tomorrow.
očekivao.
I think that's every team's real focus right now.
Sad će
is
bit
what do I
svašta.
do in the first 4
Poslije
games?
danas.
The first
Poslije
6
sutra.
games, make sure
Hoćete
that when I
igrati?
go tomorrow, I'm not playing chase,
Ili da
I'm
gledate?
playing defense instead.
Pogledam.
Ono ćemo gledati, ja odgledam bar još jedan game pa možemo večer baciti. Evo te meni se Uba danas, jutro se javio već u Rusu.
It's 100% true, and that
Da,
will
Uba je.
happen with the grand finals and that $600,000
Šta je u
in first
Rusiji?
place right around the corner.
Huh?
Now let's take a
Šta je u
moment. Let's look
Rusiji?
at the team that won the chicken dinner, the
Russian sport.
WWCD team
Oh.
stats here. Page with 5 kills, Sharp Shot with 3. I feel
Evo te
like Sharp
Pixel
Shot
još
has
deblji
been
nego
getting
što je
better
bio,
throughout
vamos.
this event.
Roth told me, as long as we just give Sharp Shot a bold action, then
Really?
we're gonna see
Sad ti misliš
crazy
o ovom
things. And we
Page?
did, but
Kakav je
Page,
lik?
he managed to clutch
Šta?
out of the park here with 5 kills and
Kažem, šta misliš o
587
Pageu?
damage. He's gonna get the man of the match.
Ne
It's good
Ne
to see
mislim
him up
kao
here.
igrač, nego ovako.
Super happy
da,
again
debil.
in the finish way.
I meni se.
Yeah.
Igrao sam s njim
Ali
Super
je-
People
He's
dosta.
definitely covering his spread for those of us who found
A
it
nije
in
samo
advance.
rage-a puno, ne mislim da je
Again,
nužno loš
they got
lik,
the circle.
razumiješ.
This is very close to where they
Da, da,
start.
rage
It
on.
was what you would call a
Ali
home
jesmo.
circle, I think.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to start a 12-game series. There's no doubt about it. But now you got to make sure your mental is in a place where you don't get too overconfident.
Ma meni je
You
svih
focus on
klinaca
keeping your
najbolji
game alive,
klinac
and
korekt
you
su
move
ga.
forward. New Happy, Osla, Pero,
Ovo je dobro.
Falcons actually
Are you
managed to
eight-
get a little
are
bit
you
deeper
eight
into this one. I don't
China?
think they're going to be happy with how that ended, though.
No, that was a home turf circle
Yeah.
for them, right? They looked snake, they looted around this area, so that's definitely that should have been a game with more points for them. But then again, it is hard for them to get out of that, especially
True.
when you lose 2 players that are driving in a somewhat slow dash here, trying to
Yeah.
get away, and they just line up a perfect SLR headshot, and the other guys are just peppering them. But yeah, 2 teams on or 4 teams on double digits, and 2 teams on the very top that are sponging a little bit, 19-20. It's a lot of points coming their way, so that start for them is obviously going to put them on a really high note both on a morale and a confidence base.
I'll tell you what I am not feeling very confident about, and I'm starting to stress me out, is Twisted Minds. These guys come into this event, not only always the bridesmaid, but at least part of the bridal party every single time. They are top performers. They know what they're doing. They just aren't doing it. Batu actually has been playing better than I think I've seen him play in a very long time.
His individual performance has been really fantastic.
Insane.
It's been good to see, but is that taking away focus from the IGLing? I don't feel like, because usually he's used to kind of these situations, right? So that's fine. But yeah, I'm really curious what's gonna be happening for these guys. Obviously, they're not in school apps here in Arango. They left it for Particular Road. And they already updated and put in their drops, so they are going power grid, and Petroglyph Road is actually falling back to San Sin. So that's interesting to see what's going to be happening once we get to those games for Twisted Minds, because then they're home turf. But here in Yasnaya, they are, interrupted by geniuses too.
Right, and so I think what you're saying though is this idea that they need to move now, because they're even in flux when it comes to maps later in the games today. So teams like Twisted Minds, you got to start strong. We saw this in so many brackets so far at PGC. If you leave it till the last day, there's nothing that you can really do except just hope the circles land on you. So now's the time to put up the fight. Now's the time to get it right. Let's head to the grassy patches of Arango for game number 2.
Zanimljivih stage-ova, brate, do sada.
Najbolji. Ja mislim.
Ali ubedljivo, brate, najbrži game. Baš ide glatko, brate.
Šta je najbolja produkcija?
Imaju
nego
pa
stage i organizacija.
A pa to sve.
Što se produkcije tiče, jedino što greše, brate, ovaj neki lik što sviča kamere i to nešto mu ne ide da radi to na vreme.
A i obzir.
A vidiš, ima potencijalni hot drop. I to je. Prija snaj kao potencijalni hot drop.
Ali iskreno ti kažem,
šta je iskreno?
Što se tiče ovo između gameova, mi tamo si ispričaš o prethodnom gameu, već treći, sljedeći.
Twisted Minds kind of have become
juče je bilo po 5-6 minuta, juče je bilo previše.
And since they're now struggling with that game, pretty much every single of the first rotations they lose one on, that to me is their biggest issue, because if you're relying on being able to come in fresh and awake when everyone's wounded, but you do that wounded, then that kind of defeats the whole purpose of trying to play their playstyle. So I think there has to be some sort of adaptation playstyle within the Twisted Minds.
Bio još 5 godina i to je to, treba mu transplantacije.
Now we got to do something different. Now we got to go aggressive. Even though we're 3, we got to catch some of these teams on their splits in the early game. We got to try and play in a style where even as 3, we can get the upper hand. Because them just sitting out waiting and then going up against 4-man rosters in the late game, clearly it's not working out.
No, I absolutely agree. And once
Yes, vidjeli ovo nešto.
Ekipa ima neku će... Dosta će ih napraviti.
Ja bi 9 volao bi ovih 27 ovog Heavena, zašto je brutalan.
Knows that he's got company, but Zhao Yang unaware. He is not aware.
That's a disgusting angle too. He's leaning left, his footsteps outside, he can peek it without being seen initially. Or if he comes to the door, like there's gonna be no way that Zhao Yang expects this.
Well, here's the thing though, is obviously he was it Human or Glass? Glass has not been in this building yet, so all the doors are closed. It's not giving anything away. Zhao Yang, though, if he gets over here, depending on where he decides to enter in, maybe will spot out. It's what are you going to see that gives it away, right? What's the evidence that you're going to find that lets you know, I might not be the only one here. He's so clear.
There was a moment where, because Glass had no helmet or vest, that looked scary, but
Pobjegao nije se ni hilo vratio, ima. Da, popušta ga, sad opada polako. Boga mi nije opada. Bem ti sunce umreći čovjek.
Ode, opada, vule,
Tek ga sad
Sad je panika, znaš, da ga neko drugi da ne naleti na neko.
Da ga ne čači.
Ovo da ga promašiš da se ne svijest.
Odzviždi mu po autu, gotovo.
SSG 10 kilo uzim.
Da, da.
Evo to ovdje hitno
A ovi
treba
su,
svoj
a
preslizi.
ovi NH su imali, ne kako se zove, kako se rekao da to? New Hip.
Oni su imali 13.
Oni su imali 19. Ne,
Brate,
nisu
iskreno,
19. 19 poena, da, ali da.
Iskreno ti kažem, Dulk je došao u zadnji fight sa 4 Pa najviše ih je ujebalo to što 2 polomljena vesta, nema helmeta.
Evo te 2 dana se nisu mogli sastaviti. Koliko su imali 14 poena u 2 dana.
Oni su zadnji bili.
Just a little hill that's kind of been lined up there, which now is going to allow for more teams to be in and around that area. So where before you'd be very much contested from that southern side in that compound, that's kind of being denied now.
Sonic, Spero, Azla,
potentially being in that area.
Well, we got a few moments here. Let's take a moment to listen to an interview with V7's Heaven.
Ja ne znam je li jači igru skorije vrijeme. Ne znam da li se jači turnir igra u skorije vrijeme.
A kad vidim da nose ove in-ear, što nosi ovaj Tosi, ovaj Hammerhead, to je najgori in-ear koji sam u životu stavio. Znači bolje je što dobiješ uz telefon svaki put.
Jesi im sponsor ili?
Ma ima još par igrača nosi.
Jebi.
Dulke ne može gori da mu ništa ne čuješ svoje korake, a ne tuđe.
Ali ko zna kako pojačale me.
Sigurno.
Znaš koliko to promijeni.
Ne, kažem, sigurno imaju, znači ne sporim sekunde.
Came to be Tosi and Heaven. I feel like
Ima
the
neko
spearheads
bijelo
of that
patch,
team
mogu da
have really
provalim
been able
danima.
to put up big numbers. I think Heaven was the first one in this tournament altogether to reach into 1,000 damage done in a game. Not that the damage really rewards you anything outside of fantasy, but
On bi volio za Sonic se zaigra.
so of course very pleased with that. And now back to Twisted Minds and this genius kind of sharing of Yasnaya. You can see Twisted Minds, I mean, going off of last game and now into this one, are pushing further and further east. They do not wish to share this if they can avoid it. But at the same time, there's this weird irony if we don't want to share, but we also don't want to fight. So how do we force them to leave without fighting you? In the meantime, Adusi, he's going to rotate on and come up high.
What are your thoughts on the gliders?
Smart play.
I love them.
There's no downside to what he's doing right now, outside of getting one tapped out of the air. But that's just, I mean, not going to happen. Especially, you're not going to fly through the center of the circle in this thing, obviously.
No.
Vidi ga, moj brat Špricer 80.
Kako je Ante, jel to je digla Monika?
Aduzi. Gledati kako čovjek vodi rotaciju, pa bolje od ovog ne može biti. Bukvalno 3 vozila su ti dovoljno. Drugi treba i ovo da uvrstim u video, mutovan si. Prati, ovo ti je naj-OP način lutovanja.
Ali ja nisam vratio pažnju.
Da, on vodi rotaciju.
On vodi, brate, rotaciju.
Ajoj.
Brat. Njih trojica su iza njega, znači dole 100 metara, razumiješ, možda i više, nisam, ali...
Regardless of where they loot and regardless of where the circle is going. They have to go up there. It's like the first checkpoint of their rotations. They have to get up there. In the meantime, towards the east, NH eSports, of course, the victors, or second place team, I should say, for the previous game. Now in a spot
Baš što su ovi zabili ovdje u prvoj fazi, šta je?
Legacy on one side, Falcons on the other, the Latam sandwich.
Znači on je u onom glideru bio i daje info, a?
Da, vodio rotaciju. Oni dole s 3 vozila, bukvalno šta, dovoljno je za 4 čovjeka 3 vozila. Ne treba i njemu. On poslije da ostavi to, potroši gorivo u prvi kam gdje dođu, ostavi ga na zemlji i sedne s njim u vozilo i to je to. Ili nađe.
Nisam to nikad vidio.
Brat. Znači ovo je koliko su ljudi počeli da koriste u stvari te neke glupe stvari koje ja sam iskreno mislio da, na primjer, nikada neće zaživeti ali vidiš sad i RPG i glider i ali ja mislim da je izuzetno dobra stvar kada, na primjer, ne igraš skrimove ili tako nešto, igrati normali, barem u nekoj dozi.
Da, dobro, normali je za dobro igre.
Da će, jebi ga, očekuješ neočekivano, oprezniji si i svašta nešto. Mislim, jesi zajebancija, ali ima dobrih strana.
Rog, crveno.
Ne koristiš više one...
Pa ne mogu.
Ne možda nabaviš.
Mogu da nabavim, brate, nego se čeka. Naručio sam sad 2, pa kad stigne. Loša strana tih podloga je što se habaju nenormalno. Znači ti u 6 mjeseci menjaš 2. To je baš previše.
A Rog realno jednu.
A Rog ne mijenja, Rog očistio fino i čao.
Kako je čistiš?
Pa stavim je, uzmem plastično ono, za veš. Stavim mlaku, vodu i stavim jednu kupu.
Lavor, ko će reći.
Lavor, A mislim, ja to zovem Kain, a ne znam da li me razumije.
Kain, pa ne bi te razumeli sigurno.
I onda stavim jednu onu mjericu praška.
Ja bih rekao onda Avelj, kako se zove na drugi.
I onim mekanom stranom sunđera je... I onda poslije stavim da se suši unutra u zatvoreno, jel?
To si meni objasnio, dobro je.
Ne na direktnu, ne na radijator.
Ne na to
nego ostaje da se suši. Na sobnu temperaturu.
A jebeno što nije zašiveno, ja sam tako pravo GSR.
Da, nije zašiveno, da. A GSR je zašiven, jel? A šta misliš da će se raspati?
Pa kažu da hoće, ja zato samo vlažnim maramicama čistim. To su baš gledao njihov video za ovu.
Kako obične vlažne, jel?
Da, vlažne maramice. Šta radi? Aha, ovo je stari, ja rekao, ako opet neko ušao u rupu solo.
Viš kako stave auto.
That would be the safest rotation in the world. If there's no one sat on liquid compound hill, the one that Ike's left has currently got control over, if there's no one set up there, then there's obviously not going to be anyone down there either, because I mean,
kako je Balkanska liga, pa to isto ovo sad što se igralo BPH tamo negdje početkom godine. Lakše ranked igra nego normali. To je. A da, brate, ja sam igrao, znate šta sam igrao prije neki dan? Normali TPP. Znači, odavno se nisam tako zabavio u PUBG.
Elmo is free, but that's Giga. I mean, you'd have no reason to try and commit to that this early in the game, especially not having a chance to scout it at all. Pentagram has the other position that they might go to, and I mean, honestly, if they do go towards the west here, there is that new area we talked about.
Ma iznervirao se, brate moj. U sekundi se, ja kako mene to nervira, kad neko puca ne daje info. Znači izdimio se, a to cijelu noć tako.
Šta je bilo?
Pa ne dava info dok pucaju i onda jebi ga, ja kad sam raspoložen, mogu cijeli dan igrat, kad sam nervozan odmah ispizdim. Onda si izašao da ne bi lajao.
Pite Vuleta juče van men armi, 13 kila.
Je Lazara, jedva stigao sam i vas.
Safe currently, but as he said, that is just asking for a mortar or a grenade. It looks like Sonics is not too terribly interested in pushing out from their compound onto that just yet.
Kako ga igra ovaj Draft King ranije?
In their spot off to the north. SSG
igrali su onaj tim brazilski, šta je?
It's not great.
Afriki lijevi.
Malo pre što je Asen dobio po njunjari od onog.
Ali prodali su.
Gledao si?
Gledao.
The more wide you play these edge circles, the more trouble you're going to get in. Because look at the just EMEA edge teams. We have all of EMEA's edge teams in this lobby. Foot, Twisted Minds, Question Mark, and Ascent.
Šta si rekao? SSG.
Everyone else plays center, but we also have Gen G. We have NH eSports. I mean, there's just not enough space out there, and that's why we're seeing these edge teams that would normally be able and freely able to spread out wide and take control, run into each other. It's all the edge teams that are actually fighting.
Da li ćeš splitati dalje? Ovo bilo dobro splitaju.
A gdje ćeš splitati? Preći ćeš niko.
Ja bi splitao. GG za ove što leću.
Ovo mi? Preživeš?
Solo lig, druž.
Kopa nije.
Will anybody make that push?
Everyone saw that kill feed, and it's just one nade away from 4 points going your way. In the meantime,
Vi
now
ste
Twisted
perfektni
Mind trying to
zbatuli
send
na
it in
noge, jel?
perfect.
Pa posvađali se na Discord.
Sorry. Trying to peek on forward. Both of
dobar
them
nade.
Batulins will once again
Samo da ne odu svi sad od ovog nade.
Tako ga je uprtio.
Ovo je najjači feature koji je ubačen ikada u PUBG.
Yep, smoke wall laid down. It's going to be enough to get him down into the tunnels, and Falcon's going to do the same. They both need to be concerned about D plus Kia, who are kind of hanging around in that same area, looking over in that direction. It looks like everyone should be able to be safe, and they will be able to return to where they need to be. Meanwhile, Gen G pulling up on the 2-2.
Pogledaj ovaj crash. Ali skonta je crash, jebote, niđe veze.
Uzbrdo i onda učeš.
No knock to be found just yet. Songjang back
Da
on
te uspore.
the lead here. We'll have to try to see if he can maybe dig Shrimzy out. The utility coming through, but he's dodging. The rest of the Sonics boys now, though, they have arrived.
I like the idea from Gen G to make a play here. I don't think
zapravo imao je smisla crash. Ja sam tek sad skontao da su ovi split igrali. Ali svejedno je.
Jao.
Stiže artiljerija.
Songjang is down. Guman will follow it up with another grenade to see if he can flush it out. And it will not do so. So Gen G, they have bitten more than they could chew. They're just going to try to retreat and lick their wounds for now. Sonics has managed to hold the line.
Njemu je na petije dok luta.
And it will be credited over to Veronica
7.
Digltona, 116. Dobar.
A ovaj čuj, nije prešao 90 da gori zemlja sad. Da se ruši ova hala, on bi na 80.
Lik ko da je kepovo FPS.
Majke moje, malo pre, brate, malo pre lik.
Ovi opet na ovog. Ovi opet na ovog.
Našli su sola.
Ne, on je izrotirao da ih zatvori ili nešto. Vidio sam da je u isto vrijeme su vozili.
Brate, koliko unlucky. Koliko unlucky. Ovi Gen se raspada.
Je pio, brate, što šuvat.
Znači ovi se raspadaju.
E sad će SSG da spoji. Ili neće još? Moraju sad spojiti. Ma bre, igraju na muda ljudi svaka čast.
Nije, idu na hangar pa pamet.
Pa dobro, ali su do sad držali.
Pa zato i kaži.
Nije ga vidio.
Mada i da su spojili prije na hangar. Ali ajde, najti iđe shift.
I ove bi volio dok ne gledamo u Azu.
Ali oni su jezivi, brat.
Da.
Što?
A duel izgubili nisu. Makar ovo što sam ja gledao i dan.
Da, ne znam kako se ispali. Mike UM dobro igra.
Hvala, rupa.
Kaže Ante Perfectix isto ko Juka nije mu Batulin htija dat lutat. Pa ga je ranio. Kad su se Juka i onaj Amir pobili ko Avema ili šta je bilo.
see if they can
Evo
survive a
ga
little bit longer. They're
Kiyosaki.
trying to retreat off of this fight, trying to find their way into this next zone. They've still got
Mali Saša Batulin snage uzeo koji bod
has
danas.
crept up to the north, but they're not finding angles
Samo
just
zadnji dan
yet.
se
But
igra
where
za
do you
njega.
go, Toby, if your foot, if your pet's
40
on
bodova
road, as you
za
said,
ostatka
there's
nadoknadi.
nothing really
Ne sumnjam.
available in this
Ubacio
next
flešku.
zone. Really, they're just going to have to play the edges, play the dips, and hope for the best.
Indeed they do. It's right now. I mean, the southern side, the shelter side, so to speak.
Nije
is
previše ljudi
where we
živo.
have the, by far, biggest kind of
Petra,
congestion of players,
šest.
and where I think most of the server, except for a few teams, hopes this next one
Pa
goes
nije,
to. Because if you
kako
swing
znalo-
off on this, you cannot play
kako
in
znala
that open
bit.
area. It's going to be half what's remaining in this server down within phase 5.
Oni ovo krešaju.
Up there, New Hab, you can see, try to find an entry
New
into the
Hab.
circle. They might just full on pull up
A
on
ne
it.
bih rekao, nego su vidjeli da je sve ispred njih zauzeto, pa pokušavaju da izvuku uzvrlo. Pa da. Ovo je ono malo pre.
LGC immediately just busted down by Asla Pentagram. Sonic's also coming in on the backside of New Happy now. Everybody has to be
Sad došli ovi
very
na...
careful. Fortunately, the
O,
terrain
jao.
providing enough real estate for these guys to avoid
Ali
each other
ovdje,
for the
brate...
time being.
Vidio sam.
Although Ascend starting to creep down on this
Da,
eastern
ja
side.
sam.
Aj,
But
mi
high
da
base
ljubičasti
still
desni.
The control set up here from Ascend. You
Aha,
can see them kind
uf.
of set 3 players wide on that
Dulki, koji su
southeastern
ovo
side and then
lekovi da on
keeping
ima
Brex up north,
77?
trying to deny
Ma,
any
Pranolo,
zone in. And what they're
100%.
doing here is
Nema šta
effectively
drugo.
saying, well, we are now the border on your eastern side, New Happy. Go back the other way. Oh, wait, that's
Znači,
Brex
do-
going
dok
set
im
up a
krv ne
fight
izvadiš,
for ourselves. Very smart.
ja sam ubijeđen
Ascend that's
100% da se
forcing
dopinguju.
fights between other teams here.
Na ovaj ili
From
na
Ascend,
onaj
all they have
način.
to do is show presence on that side of the circle.
Not even sure that New Happy is aware of the presence of
Ne mislim
Sonics
baš
just
da
yet.
koriste
They're
droge,
fully engaged with
on nije
Ascend,
isključen.
although Ascend
Ali
pulled
ove
on the
male,
right side. Tiggleton and Shrimsky,
legalne
double
100%.
peek, instant 2 knocks onto New Happy. If they weren't
Brate,
aware of
SSG,
Sonics, they
ajde,
are
kod igrava je
certainly
meč, oni
aware
su
now,
prošli.
as now the smoke wall is
Da.
laid down, the grenades
A
are coming
nisu baš.
through, not finding anything
Ali
though,
na
as
na
Falcons
12
have
game.
found a third
50 i
angle
nešto
onto
ti je
Sonics,
game.
and that's going to
60
put
i
Falls
nešto
under
ti je
the
game.
push.
This fight is gonna, I mean,
Makar
when
do
you thought
sad
this
bio,
fight
jebi
had
ga,
already
sad ovo
popped
još
off,
i
it's gonna
gusto.
get even wilder as all these teams are now gonna try and make their way further towards the next circle, because you have D plus Kia, you have Ascent, you have Falcons and Twisted Minds. They're ready and waiting for you once you make the play on in.
Ovo je najpametniji.
Boga mi Dulki 75 je.
Gledaj, alo. Zenit, sve ovi čas.
71 je bilo
New Happy
najmanje.
using the opportunity
Ko su ovi DK?
U Vince, meč 2, ma ajde. SSG.
Ko su ovi DK? DK.
50.000.
Pali su Nix.
Oj, pao, nisam vidio.
Ovi, Tiggleton.
Sonics. Jebote, 75 bodova gdje.
SSG, I mean, I don't know what they ate for breakfast, but I'm sure that everyone would want a piece of it, because if that's how you get circles, then they're very much feasting on the fact that
Ja,
they
vi ga
don't
igraš
go
dosta
anywhere
mečeva.
right now.
Blessed once again is
Opa.
SSG back on
Jo.
Aerial. Let's see what they can get. Oh, okay.
Dobro, zapravo nije to mnogo.
Prošao vrat kroz
To
šofer.
je 6-7 bodova po meču.
A da, a kad uzmeš ovako 20 pojena, koliko 3-4 gema možeš snovu.
No, to je 6 bodova.
Ovo prine
A
ide.
ne ide, drugo, jes. Jes, jes.
Baš dobro.
Ne, kako, mislim, ne koga sam vidio isto, znači utility kako koriste i odbijaju. Baš, ovi ljudi su sad dobili win samo ovim, evo, samo utility je SSG dobio ovaj fight back. Kako
Ovo ima
kreši?
Jammer.
Jammer pet.
A ovo smo.
Ste skontali da ga u glavu pogodio?
Jesu mrtvi su.
As this fight was going on, Twisted
5
Minds
kilova ima
did
Twisted,
dispatch
otkud?
Team
Ma
Falcons,
ne znam,
and now
bukvalno.
New Happy, DK Plus, and Ascend
Ja,
are
oni su
fighting
još
on the
živi,
south
bre,
side.
ovdje, još jedan
UM
tim crash.
tries to get
Možda im
inside
friendly
the
fire
zone,
uračunaju.
tries to find a way to get inside of the compound where
Ja,
SSG
evo,
is
ovaj će
holding.
da-
They're getting shot at though
Onda ne
from
proda
range
se.
5
Oj, vidi ovdje.
Genius. And
No,
now
da.
New
A na
Happy
primjer,
is
ovi DK
eliminated.
su bili
Multiple
između
fights going
tamo
on all
ovih
sides
svih
of this map.
kod ulazka na dvojku i to. I nekako su se provukli, uzeli trojku, vidjeli da je free i uzeli
Znate
to.
kako oni tenkaju ovo, jebote.
Mora dobro, brate.
Phase 5 tenkaju.
Pa je još da će par na plasman, ne?
Jer Batulina stoji pored Jua za nekog i samo mijenja ove džamere.
Napunjen.
Mika ubi, brate. Mika na svaki trade 2 kill uzme umjesto
Da,
jedan.
Mrtav jesen.
Kia pulls through, he'll find at least one kill. Ascend loses
Čekaj, kako se zove ovo
but they're
DK?
winning the battle.
Kaj je to?
Ne znam.
Kaj je Kinez?
Ne znam ko, ali su dobro
Viš vole to što ti pričam, Kaj je Kinez sve vreme.
ne še.
Aha, ja ti dole. Perfekti sad bio Kinez.
Aha, to što ostaju ime a promeni se slika. Aha, da.
Uzeo on bod.
D+.
Uzeli 6 bodova.
D+. Ko? Ko? Ace. Isto.
6 i placement.
Ništa više si umiru. Hoće stići da ga dine lav.
Hoće ima i džemer.
Jao, strava. Neće stići.
Ovo stiže, ovo
Kaže ima i ovaj džemer. U zoni je, kako?
Nisu, kako zabiješ. Pušaju se, dole.
Aj, umiru odmah, čim se
Da,
dignu.
da, ne. Azla, ovi su uzeli cijelu kontrolu. Opa, dobro.
Auto.
Tupa.
Jo.
Vidim.
Juka.
Dobar auto.
Juka. Evo Azla.
A, vjerojatno su pucački svi.
Na koga misliš?
Na Azlu.
Ma bolest.
No da, bolesno, brate. Aka, dader.
To je sve close CQB ili na long range čisto.
Ma sve.
Na sve.
Na sve.
A da sve mortar, daj mu što će. Ben da mu daš ubijete neka.
A šta im manjka?
No ništa, ne znamo ni Duki nija kako su oni ovdje. Bili su stalno prvi bili. Miri jaka, sve. Da, lorični.
They're doing their best. They are wrapping around on that south side.
SSG mora vinat, neće ovakvu šansu dobije.
Fortunately for Pentagram, they still have all 4 players up and they're going to find
Bukvalno ima sve.
Sergi. Immediate knock comes through right there. SSG still trying to deal with QM on the walls of their.
Ali jebi ga, trebaju sad ovi timovi kad se fajtaju neko dobori, razumeš? Ja viš ovo na primjer, tako sad da umre malo od Azla, da umre malo od ovih.
Koliko je kveće Mark?
Opa. Izvuku ga, brat, koji u GTA kad dođe onaj CJ izvučete iz auta koji ovaj sad njega išta. Udario mu glavu u volan i izvadio ga. Dođi ba. U Duliću, a onaj nog sa kalašem juče. Onaj betonjar. Evo iza pogledam, ako nismo gledali posto ovog gema. Evo posto. Ili ti ima što ono. Čast Redko, hoćete baciti koji game?
They weren't able to get another res, but they are slowly making their way through here. Clory's going to try to go for the res. Does he hear the footsteps? He does not. He's going to find one. Can he trade it back? Through the smoke. Not going to see it. Akkad trying to find that last player somehow. Zest still alive.
Yep, able to make his way into actually what was the opponent's smoke. Clory's, yep. Pruning this one out, wanting to buy himself some more time now, though.
A čekajte, desno znaš sam, čekaj
desno. He's finding himself on the side from where he's vulnerable to both question mark and Pentagram. Now peeks on over, finds one more.
Ali je dobar lik.
Extremely dangerous players, Clory's, as he will flush out that one kill. It's a 1v1 now between Akari and Clory's. 6 kills, 7 kills for Genius.
Da on ovo radi protiv protiv Azli.
Da,
They're going to send Page. Hikari has the hard cover of the Dacia, but he's right up against the wall.
And this could not be any better for Space Station Gaming. Their biggest fear is that you have a full team on the southern side and a full team towards the east.
Kako
But
ga je
not going to be the
flankovao
case
ovdje
with both
našao
Pentagram and
na
Genius
liniji.
taking out one another now.
Jo,
Once again,
bravo.
dragging ourselves close. When we have players with this skill level, that's going to be one taps galore and Page. Maybe
Bra,
find the
ovo je za win bio kill, 100%
lining
win.
themselves up for 2 in a row here to start things
Ovo
off
taj
at the last chance
pobiju
qualifiers.
2-1 ostaje.
I ja mislim da je ovo značilo sad. I uzeli su sam centar, Ćošak ovaj. Nema više niko tu šta da traži. A dobro, samo 4 kila imaju. Dobro, uzet će 2 ovamo, to je 6.
DG, znaš šta je
Izet će
fazon?
bar jedan ovdje.
I na ovaj PC što sam im
To je
poslao
7.
PUBG bi zašteku.
17 pojena. Na onih 20, 37.
Back-to-back games coming out victorious here. Pentagram did it in the previous game too, having to fight
Sad
their way
Hikari
out
može
of the
napraviti
compound.
malo
Yes, they were in the circles early on, but they rolled their way to a high-kill game, and now it's the same case once more. And for Space Station 2, yes, they get the
Page 2, I
circles,
got a flank
but they do
levi.
everything they have to in order to get rewarded for it, because circles alone won't win you games. You have to claim those wins too.
Da, ovo je tako je. Pa moraš.
That is his job for SSG. Best of luck. And Dante, the last 2 players up for QM.
Oni su im namjerno ostavili.
Onda
drže na dvoje vrata, razumeš?
Da.
Samo vi
We're going
uđite.
to keep eyes on everything as Roth peeking through, not seeing him just yet. Hikari has made his way into the zone. So the Asla Pentagram player still alive in this.
I love the fact that they gave them this building again. Keep in mind, SSG had control.
Pejden tuva glavu, sve neko ne može da ih vidi dole u dubljenju.
We'll give you the building, but issue is once you go in there, you have 2 exits. There's 2 exits on our side of the circle. We know that the dot is out on the eastern side of the compound. So what they think is what question mark thinks is them being rewarded is effectively just Space Station Gaming trapping them inside the house.
Hikari using this moment to reposition himself here. As we said, Page, he's got one job. His only job is to watch for this last player, and he's got hard cover helping him do this.
He knows he's there somewhere.
Ja me, si desilo šta? Je spotao Hikari i Page-a ili?
A zna on za njega. Ubio je question mark.
Could this just be a timing thing? He was looking south for the last 30 seconds straight. Now he's looking down here once more.
Ha,
Who gets the upper hand?
ma i da padne Page ist.
2 alive from question mark and Page falling down. Potentially that could just be SSG losing out on what right now looks like a clear-cut chicken dinner.
No utility in the bag for Best of Luck. You got to imagine Dante is probably hurting as well. There's not going to be any smokes for QM to lay out here as they try to make their way out of the building. All they can do really is try to get a knock, maybe open up some kind of window for themselves. Dante actually going to spot out Hikari, and Hikari will sneak his way behind the tree, lay down some smoke for cover for the time being, try to maybe snake out a second place here.
To question mark nema ništa, ništa od Hiltija.
Nisam healovi.
Ovi uopšte ne treba pikaju.
Kako bi bilo dobro da
može
Best of Luck knows where 2 of them are, but he's just no angle on him right now.
Da puca drvo.
Maybe QM, if you don't get the knock, do you
A
just
daleko je
not give
to,
the
za
points
bilo koju
away? Do
gušku.
you go down to blue?
Ovo!
Call it a day. SSG,
Pa nisam vidio
perfectly
tačno,
situated
ali
now for
ako
their
mislimo na
second
da drvo
victory
veliko
in
ovo.
Ne.
A, šeko neko.
Da, u dasku.
Da.
Look at the utility they have to work with. Space Station came in here so early. And Uzi to work with 2. Hikari peeks out, spots 1. There is some players down. No, never mind. Scratch that 4v1. They know exactly where to have him. And SSG back-to-back chicken dinners.
That is big stuff from the North American squad. You want to talk about getting the snowball rolling? He's going to do his little waddle celebration as well. It's a well-earned one. As SSG, a little bit more compound favor this time, but as we said, Toby, it was a battle holding that line.
You got to be able to bring it home. Had they not had Roth out on the wall once the push came through from the southern side by, I believe it was Veronica 7, you saw how fast question mark got up there too. You can very easily lose control of a compound like that if you aren't ready for those pushes coming early on, and they were.
And Pentagram doing the most there to ensure a second place finish after some very brave battling going on there. Let's throw it over the desk to hear what they have to say.
Ja ne mogu.
Šta ti?
Ne mogu, moram malo ruku opušiti.
Šta ruku?
Pis.
Game 2 is done. It looks like an America's circle, and again, it's an America's team that has won. SSG gets the chicken dinner, and I'm going to be honest with you, Martin. Back-to-back wins to start this by SSG was not on my PUBG bingo card when I showed up at work today.
Ali šta im pitaš, šta jel vredi? Koliko košta?
If you want to call it a home turf circle, this is the home turf circle.
Dobar kom, mislim, igrat ćeš PUBG bez problema. I to vrh. I to baš vrh.
So this is going to be right where they had a greedy split here with Junkyard and Hall of Fame. And then you're able to obviously say, okay, this is the better spot, we take that. But the disengage from the Hall of Fame to outside to make sure you get those opening knocks were incredible.
Absolutely. I mean, if there is a place that you want to start your run from the Grand Finals from the Last Chance qualifier, it is at the Hall of Champions.
It is.
This is a place where every previous champion is immortalized in the game. And so, literally, photos of the greatest players of all time, watching them hold this position. And then as you bring up, in just a moment, we see they use that open fortress strategy. They hold it for a moment. They say, okay, QM, feel free to come in. And when they do, there's nothing in there but death and traps waiting. So it was a beautiful play by them to be able to play this game out. Beautiful flanks by Pixel. We saw a really nice one by Paige. And it was played about as well as you could. Yes, they got the circles, but they played well out of it.
Yeah, and the Hikari, Clory's mutual destruction on Genius and the pentagram. That was just so entertaining to watch. But both of those teams actually had the potential to win it, right? Because if you had 3 guys alive, you would have, once Space Station, they jumped out of all of them, they would just have been taken down because they had the high ground advantage. And so they just, you know, let's just get as many points as we can. Let's mutually destruct each other that way. Yeah, and then that way, of course, some point going their way, but it could have been a win for them quite easily, I feel like.
That was mutually assured destruction. I will say this. Welcome back to the desk, by the way, Toffees and Avenger. I have seen some of the best 1v1s I've ever seen at this event. The amount of times that we've seen some of the best gunners in the entire world going in these sort of head-to-head fights over a hill or a warehouse has been exquisite. But let's look at the top 4 teams. SSG, Genius, Osla, and DK are going to be coming in with some big points. And it seems like
Monika,
earlier.
It was a little bit. Also similar
Extra
kind of
Monika,
area for the circle. Roth.
I 1000 FPS nije ni previše. Na to imat ćete još troškova, koliko vidim, kućište, hlađenje, morate uzeti hlađenje za taj procesor, hlađenje nekih 50 evra, kućište, morate uzeti dobro kućište, to vam je neki isto možda 50 do 70, tam još treba tu. Sve u toj cijeni. Ti izlaga. A gdje si to kod nekog švercera nabavili? Ekstra monik. Ali M2, imaš li M2? Vidim da fali SSD tu. Treba vam SSD, M2 uzmite, on je odličan. Nije previše skup, ja mislim sad veći. Imaš i to? Nema skuplje, bukvalno ne postoji skuplje.
The morale and the confidence on the team is just going to be absolute through the roof.
My worry is, so if I look at 14th, I see Legacy, for instance. Both of those games were hometown circles for them as well. They drop in those areas, and all they could get out of it was 5. So that, I think, starts to stress me out a little bit in terms of their progression. Tyloo, 6 points, something I expect more from them. And then honestly, Foot, I thought they'd come out a lot stronger. I know we're 2 games in, but when it's only 12 games, you already kind of have to be assessing, are you getting enough out of these first maps?
Yeah, I agree. yeah, they've been in some situations where they lost a few players. It was like, oh, this third party, like they've been on this like such a hard
Koliko
edge.
si rekao da je bio prvi, da je bio top 870, jel?
Also on the edge, also trying to get in, right? So you're going to be super late to the circle in that way. So yeah, they've got 10 more games to go, but there's definitely some teams on the right side of the leaderboard right now that would be yeah, disappointing not to have in the grand finals.
It seems like we've taken a bit of a twist where it's sort of like this idea that we're seeing less middle teams in this lobby and more people really wanting to sort of play that edge. We'll see exactly what they do. QM also using the Skyrocket to go and scout. We're going to be back in just a minute after this break. Game number 3 on the way.
Kuplaj sebi anti... ćemo igrat, ha? Ovdje ima super pip. Igrat ćemo do final.
Unleash my shopping spree
Duty free from big brands.
at all King Power stores and King Power online.
It's possible. Enjoy great selections, promotions, and privileges.
The power of possibilities. King Power.
Hanuman's forces have set up their barrier. They are waiting for sunrise before they release their guard.
With my magic, the night will turn. Enemies beware. My Aram is coming for you.
ยืนหนึ่งมันไม่ง่าย แต่ไม่ยากที่จะทำแค่ตั้งใจและสนุกกับมัน
เท่าแก่น้อยตอบโจทย์ทุกไลฟ์สไตล์แบรนด์สาหร่ายยอดขายอันดับหนึ่ง
ถ้าสาหร่ายต้องเท่าแก่น้อย
It's only a perfect victory when the whole team lives. I know where he's going.
바로 정중앙에 있는 거. 오, 좀 어려운 질문이 나왔는데요. 막내를 잘 이해해주는 좋은 사람인 것 같습니다. 제 기준에서. 당사자 장군 씨, 컴온. 우리 둘이 어떤가?
환상의 듀오라고 생각합니다.
我自己最喜欢那个米兰马，因为
Može, Anti. Te živi kup kako će se lovi. Oš ti
他们的
bog.
战队都叫我木哥，大哥的意思。我们家
Pa jesi vidio predikcije za 2024. godinu? Znači eSports ti svake godine raste za 40% u odnosu na prošlu godinu. Predikcija za 2024. godinu je da 70%.
頑張りますので応援お願いします。ファイティング。
Kad je prošle godine porasto, to jest ove, a sve preskupo bilo, vrat. A sad već padaju cijene. Alo? Alo? Pačku. DK, ma li ovo DK? Ma gdje si DK, jebo ga, krut. Ne, pa znaš kako, nekasni stream ti je možda delay 5 sekundi, ali kad tako zakasne notifikacije, jebi ga, to ti je do stream elementsa. Neka kasni, neka na vrijeme. Kako si ti meni? Igrali se CS? Ovih par mjeseci prvi put se nekom koliko pristupaš i da ima svega. Jest, brate. Znači ja kad sam kupovao grafičku u Srbiji si imao da kupiš 3070 Ti, čini mi se, i 3060 i ništa ništa. I to je bilo 1000 eura. Zabode je nekad ovaj Stream Elements. Gdje ljudi, koja je kvota da Twisted Minds ne prođe? Gdje mi reći? Jel vas posjeća ova pjesma Ne ideš za Kanadu?
Welcome back, everybody, to the last chance qualifier, day 1, where Space Station Gaming truly, Toby, has taken off.
They're on their way to the moon, but will they land there or not? I know, and I'm...
Napada se opasno ovaj CS2, osjećam se kao da imam 25
And you said, remember Pentagram in group stage? They too won the first 2 matches
Jesu fiksali CS2. Jel ima cheatera i tako to? Vidio sam
da
su onaj hitreg oko toliko riješili. Ali čuo sam da ima cheatera masu. Igrao sam ga malo, meni se baš sviđa.
What is question mark got behind there?
That's a doozy set as like the Riddler, because it's question marks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a thing. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll with it. Twisted Minds. Well, that's another team we were talking about during the break here a little bit. Struggles continue, although by the looks of their faces, positivity still reigning high.
Ne može to preko noći. Meni je malo bilo bez veze jedno kad su CSGO skroz makli na CS2 koji nije baš polišovan do kraja. Ali to kad se sredi sve, ja mislim da će biti bolje od CSGO.
That is usually their home field. Well, they've got to pick a new one because we are heading over to Vikendi. And the snowy fields, the icy rivers, the warm, fuzzy polar bears. Who will...
Anything else you want to add to that?
Jeste, sjećam se to. To je bilo 2012. Mislim bilo 2012.
But now they do because
we'll take it.
Nice,
sure. Why not? Either way.
Ali to je bio baš drastičan prelaz. Razlika između 1.6 i CSGO je mnogo veća nego između CS2 i CSGO. Tamo poredim vijest kako ne uporedim.
Everybody else kind of has to pick things up a bit here.
Yeah, and I'm looking towards the potential hot drop markers. Of course, very nice that we have the drop markers on screen to sometimes show us where teams land, or at least get an idea thereof. And sometimes, obviously, as we said, PUBG politics do come into play whenever we go into new brackets. So sometimes changes have been made. But I am seeing Veronica 7
Boga mi imamo kontest na question mark.
Flying north in the same kind of vicinity, and I don't think either of these two teams, especially question mark, is looking for early game fight. So you'd imagine them just dipping and going elsewhere.
Yeah, and actually Pio creeping over there as well. As you can see, he's trying to, I imagine, trying to find a vehicle, but I don't know if that's where you want to be exactly. That's a little spicy. As the first circle will pop, we are going back down to the southwest. Maybe Twisted Minds.
Yeah.
You can't lose anybody in rotation if you don't have to rotate, Toby.
CSGO kad izašao samo što nisi leteo sad.
Strategy that I'm sure Twisted Minds is going to try and put
Pa s vremenom si zijeli tako sad i CS2. A bitno samo da radi. Samo da radi, da su redovno update i sve ti to fiksi. Ja sam probao. Vidio sam da je previše izbagovano i samo sam rekao dolazim za 6 mjeseci. Vjerujem da neki, to je prilike taj period 6 mjeseci za koje ćemo sve fiksati. Tako je bilo i s Battlefield 4 i sa Battlefield 1.0.2.4 i sa maltene svakom igru.
when you have 4, you have that extra joker player, the one that can still apply pressure,
Nego
the
su
one that can
spustili
flank
igru
from
godinu
behind.
dana
You
ranije.
get so many more options of what you can do.
A moguće.
When you
Pa
have
nešto je
4
mnogo godinu,
compared to
ali
losing just one player on your team.
Sure. And look, man, you've been watching Twisted Minds all year
Pa
long.
CSGO
Now. You know
tada,
what they're
doduše
capable
kad
of.
izašao,
You've
ajde,
seen what they're
da ne
capable
mogu
of
se
at
sjetiti.
international level as well. I mean,
Ali
it's
mislim da je
it just feels like even back to Dubai,
kad je
PGC
postao
last
free, da je
year,
tad dobio baš
always
boost.
just so close, always in the conversation though, and it's just been a little bit of a slow start. I don't want it to get to the point where we're feeling like we're beating on Twisted Minds at all here, but it's just it's surprising.
I feel like we can beat on Twisted Minds, and only but only because we know what they're capable of. I'm not one to go out and punch on a team.
We don't punch down
we don't have high expectations for. But the reason that we're so much after Twisted Minds is because we all have very high expectations. And right now, I mean, I'll say it bluntly, they're not living up to those expectations. The thing is, though, I also feel like I catch myself every time I reach this point in my
do sad imao QA team od recimo 20 ljudi, sad imaš QA team od par miliona.
For a second, let us do this thing, and then the next game they go out and get themselves a 14-kill win. So hopefully for them, we are reaching that time now, because we are also reaching a point in the tournament where that's what's needed in order to come out victorious.
Things will start clicking eventually, or they go home.
They usually always do.
That is the options. Here we go. For eSports, all by themselves on that eastern side. They do have Genius ahead of them and Falcons in between them and the Circle. It's been a fairly okay start for Foot, I guess. 7 points. I mean, there's a big clump of teams that are just kind of like right in the middle between 7th and I guess, unfortunately, Gen G with 0 all the way down to 16. Through 2 games on Erangel, they got what they could out of the situation that they were presented.
I feel like the really tricky part of what was these last 2 games is point A. As I said during the last game, we have all of EMEA's edge teams. We have a lot of Korea's edge teams. We have 1 Chinese edge team. There's a lot of edge teams in this lobby, is what I'm trying to say. But with that, when we look at the last 2 games in particular, we have the games that are so much open space. So even the teams that want to play center early game can't get in there because
ne mogu reći da ne zaslužuju, ali ja lično ne bih volio
like the kind of like late game edge center teams, they're also now out on the edge because there's nothing to fight for in the middle. Then we go towards the east and finish a game north of Shelter. You have 3 teams set in the middle. The other 3-4 teams that would normally be part of that kind of center-ish position are also now out on the edge. So the edges have just been giga clustered, which is why we're seeing back-to-back games with 10 players dead on multiple different teams over the course of the first 15 minutes, because these edge teams simply just don't have space to maneuver when you now have 3-4 more teams out on that edge than what you usually would.
And you're having to remember as well that half of this lobby had not even 24 hours to prepare for this, right? So you kind of go with what you know about these teams, and obviously if we know about it, then they know about it, and they should know to expect that the edges are going to be a little bit more occupied, and things are going to be a little bit more spread out from center than maybe the group stages and the winners-losers brackets were. So, but it's still it's seeing that and knowing that on paper is a lot different than having to come in here and actually play it.
Especially when you then given 2 games back to back where there literally is no center to claim for the teams that actually would rather be in there than out on the edge. But of course, it's not all going to be repetitions, at least I hope not, for the majority of these teams in terms of how the first 2 games went. And now over to Space Station we go, who didn't need to go edge. As a matter of fact, they didn't need to go anywhere, but now they did, and they find themselves right next to Legacy.
Yep, getting a little bit more, at least first circle love, which, well, let's be honest, it's hadn't helped everybody in this lobby so far. It's not like first circle fortune is a prime indicator of success towards circle 7 and 8, but it doesn't hurt as we see SSG starting to split off a little bit here, get a few highlights from last game, or actually from the whole tournament really so far. SSG, it's been up and down for sure, but once they get that snowball rolling, these guys, I mean, it's any PUBG.
A sjećaš se ti DK, ma sjećaš nešto, kad smo igrali SEU, kakav je anti-cheat brutalan imala SEU. Mislim da Valve ima baš loš anti-cheat. I uvijek ga ima loš.
kind of with the highest chance of winning just based on their position in the circles. They have gone out and claimed it. Many teams have had games where they got those circles they needed. They got the one shift they needed to bring it home, but fell short, didn't capitalize on it.
Čini mi se da Valorant ima najbolji anti-cheat, ima ih i tamo. Znaš, ali kad ih ima onoliko da se o njima ne priča, tad je dobro. Znaš, kad nisu nikakav faktor. Znači, ti u PUBG-u dođeš, vrati, o čemu pričaš o cheaterima, u svakom meču po 2 komada. Tako je slična situacija i u CS-u, eto, možda malo bolje.
Yes. And also worth noting, I mean, these guys know better than anybody that there are still 10 games to go. You cannot rest on your laurels from 2 wins back to back, no matter how nice they might be. Sonics are all inside a compound. No 2-2 splits coming out this time or at all today, really. Sonics have been kind of playing with each other. We did see a little bit of a 2-2 split last game. And they had to
ne trailer, nego podcast, da se nećemo čitovat, da ovo, da ono, da su napravili nešto novo. Ono, brate, sranje koji voze što se anti-cheata tiče. Ljudi igraju Forza Horizon, ha, brate, moji igraju i Sims.
They kind of wrapped around, they hurt the vehicles of Petrichor, and obviously having not hurt 3-4 vehicles, that just instantly
malo bolje razmislim, i ja sam čitavao u Simsu.
Because we all saw what happened with Icecliff and the boys when Django got himself a Panzerfaust, and since then I feel like we've never seen more than 2 in a car, at least not in the early game. So highly doubt that Sonics is unaware of the fact that they have players around them.
That was one of the most brutal highlights from PGC so far. Petrichor Road just gets demolished.
The PUBG equivalent of ripping off the Band-Aid. It hurts a lot, but only for a short moment.
This is so brutal, man. I couldn't even watch the replay again. Okay, that's a lie. I watched it several times because it was hilarious. But I know Panzerfaust, obviously a very touchy subject, so I will leave that alone for the time being, and we will focus in on Hikari as the Pentagram gang. So far, so good today. 26 points overall as Silzin getting a few shots into a passing T-Bone.
T-Bone fell down early in the previous game off of kind of scouting forward on his own, and here he gets to live with his life intact, at least for now. You can see Instant Evade is pulling up to try and kind of join forces with him. Foot does have a lot of control, a lot of space towards that southeastern side of the circle, and would again be terrible for a team that likes to spread out, take control in similar fashion to Twisted Minds, really, to lose one, especially your IGL this early on in the game.
Seems to be the iron price that a lot of these teams are having to play for going for these information gathering splits early on. Let's see where the new circle decides to go. We'll go up to the north, center on Lumberyard, as SSG once again getting a little bit of love here, but several other as well. Twisted Minds, that's their looting spot, so we'll see where they decide to play from here.
And we're not seeing them fully kind of fall back into Lumberyard proper yet, and that means that Space Station Game is actually going to be able to take it away from them, or at least leave Perfectus down on that southern side. You can see Spiro and Lou sat down here as well, with Genius currently wrapping right past him. They read that this is a split. Genius has done it before. Just wait, there's only 2 guys shooting. That's a pull-up right here right now. We want to send a compound, and we got to claim it. But we're back again to a situation here, Poro, with the center being a big crater, essentially.
Ja se ne razumijem mnogo, jasno mi je da to nije jednostavno napraviti, ali mislim da generalno developeri sa izuzetkom Valoranta malo ili nedovoljno obraćaju pažnju na fair i korektne uslove.
They're going to come in and claim the south side.
Just to their north
as well. So the middle of Lumberyard getting a lot of love very early on. D plus Kia also trying to send their way through that 2-2 split from Twisted Minds. They're not going to take any knocks just yet. It doesn't look like they're wanting to commit to Lumberyard, though. They are playing rather the eastern high ground.
And this is going back to what we were talking about earlier with the previous 2 games just being tricky on the edges. Now we saw 3 teams just instantly bomb at center. Those 3 teams going in, it's going to make more space out on the edges for those rest of the teams to play, which is why 11.5 minutes in, we haven't lost a single player yet. There's more of a kind of dynamic flow in how this set of teams are moving in, as we see Paige finding Scene in his vehicle. D plus Kia, well, they scouted forward, but it got a bit too far. Perfectix, as a matter of fact, is going to be the one rewarded.
Mislim da ja slažem se s tim.
With the bold actions and
svi oni to tako rade.
But it's fun to watch Page hit him. I would love to see that. I'm sure we're going to end up seeing that replay as they.
Problem je što će sigurno izgubiti.
But it's a very interesting point you make, Toby.
Dosta igrača, ali opet ako se pročuje da su napravili anti-cheat, ljudi će se i vratiti. Tako da ima i smisla da to drže na kraju. Imao 100 FPS-a ili 6 isto.
But now you've got so much more space, as you said, because all of those teams are playing inside there. So that's very, very interesting point that you make, and I think it's a great point. And now Twisted Minds actually committing 3 fully to Lumberyard, leaving Lou behind.
Yeah, for how long are they going to continue with that? Foot in the meantime now, losing Vart. Can they find the flush? T-Bone is in the nearby vicinity.
Niko nego si se uključio, pričali smo da baš da developeri generalno zanemaruju anti-cheat.
Solid shots coming through, but of course again Perfectix the one to claim the flush in the end. Vart still alive, prone in a dip.
Ili skroz zanemare ili nedovoljno posvijeti.
You can see Pentagram now committing to this one, and I think, it's just a terrible place to have to take.
Gubili su 25% community, ja
It's a big loss on them.
Prodaju prave pare, pa ja.
But then again, I mean, now for Foot eSports, that's also for them.
Pokazivo sam na stream šta je pisao developer PUBG. Više para zaradi od prodaje anti-cheata nego od igrice. Brate, update anti-cheat prije svakog update ovih GG.
Finish off that knock, get that point, which obviously you would expect them to. But immediately, once you realize that they are committing, get in vehicles, play the rest of the game, just realize that you're out one player. But Circle Center's up on Lumberyard once again. And again, more real estate around the edges here than maybe I think a lot of people were expecting.
Well, and this is where the edges are going to be burned.
SSG, center, treće zone.
Up on the, let's call it the volcano edge, are already set there waiting for teams to make their way on in. And or the lumber volcano edge, whatever you want to call it.
Still 61 alive.
SSG centar opet treće zone. Ali sad Twisted Minds sistema dobar.
In particular, you can only play patient for so long. We have 6 teams that all have to make their way on in, and they're all running into teams that are already set very comfortably in very defensible positions. So expect a lot of these teams trying to come in, unless if they hit really good headshots on entry, potentially going down before the next circle is even going to pop.
This is going to be another one of those situations where it might get kind of weird. If you're a team like Foot, you're down 1. You see this circle centering on Lumberyard. At this point, you have no information about what's going on inside that crater. It might seem like the best decision to try to just bomb it center and play for the late game, but Lumberyard is very occupied right now. Ming will spot out T-Bone. That's going to be him going down now. Foot down.
T-Bone, brate, 2 meča ovako gine.
And this is what you normally expect to have happen when you do Sundet Center. You lose one thing is normally going from 4 to 3. In this particular situation, isn't the worst. Foot, of course, having already lost one now with just 2 left alive. This is going to be hard as they pull straight into Gen G.
A gotovo je Foot.
60 alive. This has been a map all tournament long, really, that has delivered basically finished very early. Circle 6, Circle 7. We're usually on our final teams, but this one playing out very slow. Page in a perfect position. Will spot out 8C. He'll take a little bit of damage from PO. It looks like Beamy has managed to get inside, but he's very low, and he's going to go down as well. And Foot eSports is eliminated in 16th place.
Nothing they can do again. Taking casualties early, then try to bomb it center into a position that already has way too many teams in there. All of them sat very comfortably waiting for
Da su došli 30 sekundi ranije, prošli bi svi.
New Happy might be the next candidate here. They are still 4 strong. December 12th gets knocked very low. Pentagram holding the line right now. Adder right up against the wall. This grenade coming through, but now he's going to get some support from Americano and D plus Kia, who have the high ground. They're taking shots towards Pentagram. That might actually open up a little bit of a window.
To je ko Kasperski antivirus. Što napravi virus i onda antivirus. To je bilo oko Kasperskog i onog Nortona. Pa će napravi virus i antivirus. Prodaju jedno i drugo.
To play what has been a really good day of PUBG so far.
All right. The trailing duo trying to hop in vehicles, get inside before Aslet arrives, and it looks like they will do so, and they're actually going to get assisted from Petrichor, and there you go. Hard shift to the north. Lumberyard still in, Toby, but does anybody want to play it? Can you still have
Boga mi SSG mora junački da se bori ovdje.
if you're one of those teams that are on the south side?
I mean, this is where Lumberyard becomes a micro city, essentially. Do teams want to push in knowing that they have to push out immediately after? They will be deadly. Not only that, but we add to the fact that you have to climb uphill as you come out of the city. It is, I mean, it's gotten death written all over it. So I think the vast majority of teams try to rep hard west, try to rep hard east, but that's now where those teams are running to the edge teams who are already set very safely. So bottlenecks are going to occur right on question mark, right on Petrichor on both sides of the circles.
This is going to be brutal. The rim of the volcano, as you spoke, going to be very, very violent as Batulins has now spotted out Hikari, Oslo, Pentagram trying to make the send. They're getting shot at in the back by Twisted Minds. They're going to have to push right into Petrichor Road. Meanwhile, question mark, Veronica 7, they're taking it on the western side of this circle. Just like that, V7 Fun Pain is eliminated. Question mark should be able to res Phil first and get back on the move. But here's the other fight. Asla Pentagram pushing right into Petrichor Road.
And with these bottleneck situations, the most important thing is get those fights over and done with quickly. Ming able to keep his teammate alive as the card falls down. That's Pentagram down and out. And again, as I said, I mean, question mark able to finish that fight fast. Petrichor does the same thing. Now they can reset. Now they can get ready for the potential fight against Twisted Minds.
Big shots there from Ming from Petrichor Road, able to get their teammates out. They were back by Twisted Minds. Slow rotation coming in from them. GE, Genius, still inside Lumberyard. Tyloo still inside Lumberyard. Space Station still inside Lumberyard. It looks like Tyloo may be considering pushing out. Legacy, meanwhile, taking this fight with Gen G. Tunox had come through onto Gen G, but Falcons Legacy giving them just enough time to get these revives, and now they're back to a full-on 4v4.
Yep, there's going to be no time for Legacy here to kind of consider what they want to do. If you take the fight, you have to full-on commit to it. In the meantime, now up towards the north, ascend towards the circle center. Actually, I don't think
Da 9-3, kad CSG. Ali sad moraš prebaciti to, nije više CSG. Moraš iti update ovaj jebi ga.
Phil first is knocked once again, but Mika, it's Chris already knocked Brex and Kilyakai trying to find the sprays. Brex will go down, and now it's just down to Kilyakai from range. He's in the blue, he's got the mini, but he's been spotted out. Meanwhile, Tyloo does eliminate Team Falcons on the push.
Htio sam i kick, ali još uvijek nisam namjestio notifikacije tamo, nešto čudno, brate.
Again, perfect timing for question mark.
Nije kao, makar ja ne znam preko Stream Elements.
There's just one, that means he's left somebody behind alone. They pull up on it, they take the fight to them, they get to reset now in good time too as we hop on down to Petrichor.
Unfortunate timing for Ascend, and now unfortunate timing for DK as they run into Petrichor Road. Ike's left is knocked. They will find the last kill, but Sonics, they see it in the kill feed. They're pushing over. One left for D plus Kia, hiding in the smoke, working around the side. He's going to go prone. It's Zhanggu. Ming will go down. He's going to try to get the cover up, but it's not going to matter. Sonics will finish them off.
And this timing could not be any better for Sonics. They come over, they clear out right before the
pogledaj Oluju sad na Sonicse. To jest na New Happy. I Sonicsi mogu da priđu New Happy skroz, ovih neće vidjeti uopšte. Kako to glupo napravljeno. Znači svako koji je u centru tog tornada ne vidi ništa, ovi s polja vide.
Kills. I know that's got to drive the haters crazy. We'll see how much he ends up with. As a Molotov going to get shot out of the air here by Esther. I think he was maybe trying to shoot it right on top of him, see if he could give him a little bit of an okie doke. Not going to find it though, as Falcons. There you go. Pio will be the one that finishes off Zera. Tyloo now still coming from that south side, still outside his zone. There are 3 teams on the western side of this circle, the only 3 teams that are outside of the storm.
Yep, cold in the western side here. Gen G
Ajde skladimo na Twisted Minds, malo navijački.
Anticipating the fight from both sides, but also well aware that I think the best they can do here is lay low. Hope they can get a surprise knock. Issue is they don't have time to do just that. Tongmu peeks over, finds the first. Elsen will find the second.
I na njih ćemo 50.000, nek ide živo. Prošlo sam dobio, jevo te prošlo sam dobio skoro 200.000 coins za SSG.
Ridges and hills to work with. You can see the storm has bloomed off on that eastern side. Everybody just hunkering down inside that for the time being. We also still have 2 teams that have to fight their way out of the logging camp. SSG
ne, mislim potpuno nebitno.
Meanwhile, this fight still going on. DG98 will find Zhao Yang. And see if Esther can maybe trade one back. LZQQ very low as well.
It's a difficult area to fight through, especially knowing that you have question mark just on the other side. But I'm loving the way that Gen G has managed to wrap their way inside force.
Pa da, ali vidiš, lijevo su ti poeni. Lijevo su ti poeni, gdje su ti kilovi, gdje su ti trenutno kilovi u ovom meču. A lijevo su ti overall poeni. Razumiješ, znači lijevo su ti overall leaderboard, a desno ti je trenutno kilova u ovom meču. Ovo ti je ukupno, sad si igra trenutno treći meč. I onda ti je live leaderboard i onda kako rade, prave kilove i to, stvaraju poene, prebacuje ih gore dalje.
Should allow for, nope, not gonna happen. That's gonna be DG98 down. They tried to find safety somewhere, had to push down towards the southern side. It's the new question mark we're gonna peek on. Oh, that's now the circle. Up towards the north we go. We're centering on the ridgeline.
So close for Roth. He'll find one. Oh, almost gets taken down, but is able to pull back around as Clories is knocked. Utah gonna take a shot in the back from Batulins as now Twisted Minds is finding an angle on this from the eastern side. So Genius needing to be careful about how they push through here.
Taktika. Placement poeni ti donose više bodova od kilova. I onda se nekad isplati uzeti manje kilova, a bolju poziciju.
While Roth does get knocked, they're doing everything they can to force them back.
Molotovs everywhere. Zesta's going to go down. Surti, the last one up. Page taking damage. His teammates knocked as well. Esther, the last player up for Gen G. Page, just peeks around. He's going to miss and the flashbang comes through. Page playing okey doke, ring around the rosy. There it is. Esther will go down, and that's 3 kills for SSG.
Again, salvaging a situation here where everything's gone against them now with placement points, getting kills off of it too. Solid points being earned here by Page in a game that, I mean, again, kind of had SSG out of it even before placement points.
SSG looks like Page going to leave from the western side. Genius will reset, leave from the east. Sonics still have 4 up. They're fighting their way in from the north side. Dante has an angle on this. Long-range shots coming in from question mark. New Happy, though, is waiting for Sonics as soon as they get in here, and they realize it. They'll pull back around, but they've got to find somewhere to play here, Toby.
Where do you go? Do you set up in the dead center? I think they don't have any other options, really. If they realize now that if you pull up on one team, the other team is just going to third party. So we have to try and see if we can sit here at least for a little while and then hopefully leave them like I'm exposed to one another.
Twisted Minds ima dobru šansu.
At least some of them will try and take out each other.
Lay the smokes down.
Twisted Minds ovdje može
for the best. New Happy has not spotted
sačekat malo i vina.
Looking over in that direction, and now Twisted Minds also on that very, very far south side. They're finding an angle onto New Happy as well. And Genius now finally leaving that warehouse position. So Sonics should be able to survive a little bit longer here. Twisted just going to try to send it right in the middle, and they're actually going to get away with it. They're very low, but they're alive.
I wouldn't be worried about them had it not been because they landed in this area. They have no smokes. They're running around with G36s as well. We know that they're very limited in what they have to work with. And starting to take casualties because of it. Utility is so important when you have open-end games like this.
They are getting picked apart. Floor's going to steal that one away. It's going to be Perfectix. Now Spiro and... Oh, one nice grenade from Twisted Minds out in 6th place with only 2 kills.
Really important too that NH eSports gets that fight done with as fast as it did because I mean look what happened. Sonics they see NH eSports fighting, they were great.
Ja bih rekao
nju happy take the fight to question mark, but because it ended so quickly, that's going to put NH in such a favorable position because look at how they shifted towards the west. Even GE is over there as well. NH eSports, if they realize it's quick enough, could take full control of the east side of this circle.
That might make things interesting. Uduzi going to get spotted out by Clories. Big spray from him. Genius actually going to use that as an opportunity to pull back down towards the south, see if they can maybe wrap over on the eastern side. New Happy though, expecting it. Uduzi all by himself.
Napravi problem ovim.
Now that's 2 knocks now. Dante's gone down. Sonic's going to try to push him from the south side. Tickle will get spotted out by Phil first. Question mark holding the line while the grenades come through. They're going to do a lot of damage, but they're not getting the knocks. Phil first peeks around. There you go. Cleaned up in the end by Sonics as Genius will spot out Page as well.
Great use of utility, able to push over
top 3, alo bare zapadaju.
They did not want for NH eSports to get any part of that fight whatsoever. Great setup there from Sonics. They knew what they had to do. They go up, they execute to perfection.
And Shrimzy immediately running, sprinting over to some hard cover there to try to take shots over New Happy. They were
Ja sam se kradio na Twisted da prvi izumrli.
And the push come through, it did. Genius on that south side, still 4 strong. Don't have an angle onto Sonics just yet. New Happy though, they are just circling that eastern side of the zone like sharks, waiting for either one of these teams to reveal themselves.
SSG završio.
SSG je uzeo 36 su imali, znači 7 bodova.
Sad ovo.
Da.
Now that's going to be Sonic's down 1 player and also having to come off that hill unless if the final circle shifts hard towards the northwest.
9 points for Sonics here.
A reče dano 70 ni nešto, ne?
10 points in all of yesterday. So
ako ti je 72, oni su prošli debelo kvotu za prvi dan.
In a full day yesterday, so good things here for both of these squads. Genius 7 kills
Oni
for
ako raste
themselves.
ovako, brate, mogu da
Now it
odu
seems like they are just kind of holding the line,
na
waiting
70 bodova u
for
prvi
New
dan.
Happy and Sonics to try to fight themselves. This is exactly what every team is wanting to do.
Kakav je sad format? Znači oni sad da se spajaju sa time
Top 8. Bottom 8 ide kući,
Dobro.
a top 8 se spaja sa top 8 iz winner bracketa od juče. I to ti je grand final.
A šta je bilo ono prethodna 2-3 dana? Loser bracket, tako?
A prvih par dana je bila grupna faza.
Dobro.
Onda ti išao loser bracket, pa winner bracket i sad ide last chance i onda final. Loš ide u timovima. Pa dobro, Question Mark igra dobro. Evo ih 6. Ascend, Twisted. Ascend igrao dobro je Rangel, Twisted ne igrao ništa, ali ja ne znam, oni su dalje naboli neki poen. Predator, lagani.
Clean as you like, no knocks taken, and now Genius will try to take advantage of New Happy as they pull around the edge.
Jebote, New Happy, alo. Nije ih bilo niđe. Niđe, znači imali su 14 bodova u 2 dana winner break.
Zest, the last
Gledaj,
player up for
vinaju
Genius.
meč.
He was a little bit farther removed. Now Nan has been knocked from NH. They are trying to
Dosta.
find him. They don't know where he is. Nan gonna feed that information over to the rest of the boys. He's on the rock. Let's make sure we clean up the rest of these kills. Get all of these points. Zest, can you pull off a miracle?
Eviš gore, 3 plava.
Aha.
Ming denies it, not gonna happen. NH eSports fell short in a wrangle, but instantly return on Vikendi.
Ovaj imam pos.
Ja i put pošli. Mada food, brate, Tibona gube već 2 meča. Prvi meč. A?
Bose, kuce 20.
Svi imaju. Da još nemaju svi, ali većina.
Sad, brate, ja ih imam još uvijek, ali mi je otišao onaj desna slušalica Zui i kad uključim ovo pojačalo, ono počne Zui i ne mogu da podnesem.
I Danlo ima 2 para.
Da jedni mi se desilo to, da na obe crkve.
A dobro, a koliko ih si ih imao, koliko?
Jedne sam koristio, jedne baš nešto nisam.
Jebe ga, meni su dulke ove što... Onda kako smo ih ti ja kupili, pre koliko je to? Mi smo kupili slušalice pre nego zvučno, tako ili kako je?
Da. A ne sjećam se. Tako nekako. Pre 2 godine možda. Možda i jače.
Ima možda i više. Eto, mene služe, isti par me služe do pre, ja kažemo, pola godine, možda i malo jače. Ali sa ovim pojačao. Samo zvuči. Koja je realno jedno kao neki entry level mogu reći.
Da, ali nema poente to. Mi smo to kupili, znaš šta, nas je korona izjebala. Mi smo to kupili, to se realno kupuje za turnire LAN. Kad je PUBG cvjeto, tu trebalo bude turnira koliko hoćeš LAN. Nije to, nije Bosku C20, nije da igraš kući s njim. Mislim ja, makar nema šanse, mene glava boli i... Ne znam.
Da, tamo mora zbog buke.
You make a good point because so far we've talked about we've talked about winning with the home circle. Right. But the story today really for me is teams that have not been getting anything out of the home circle.
Falcons on
Yes.
that should have been more points than they had. Sure, they had some, but Falcons on Angle definitely a case where we'd love to see more. But yeah, this was like overall kind of a harder circle to base
zasiguran kill jedan. A nije zasiguran. Moraš pogoditi. Ali njima je zasiguran.
It's hard to push and also once you have these areas and you're controlling enough space like we saw in eSports do, it's just about a few utility here, like 3-4 nades, and you're completely demolishing one team because Sonic had to play on this last little bit of a ridge into the next circle, right? And you're just pushed into a small area.
Absolutely. And I will say, I mean, that was a big part of it, as you saw. What I liked about at the end of that game was we saw that lift that sort of Sonic spoke up to.
Danilo da ima tipa 9 timova koji bi trebali ono kao da budu
a da, neko će nastradati.
Pa da, neko
I to mislim da neće jedan tim nastradati, nego sad kakva je situacija, više dobrih timova će nastradati. Mislim dobrih, hoće svi dobri timovi.
Pa vidi, pa neće nastradati, jer koliko su imali gemova, 30 nešto ukupno.
A ne. Ja sigurno.
I ti ako za 30 gemova ne možeš da se izdvojiš tu, znači jebi ga ne zaslužuješ da budeš tu prosto.
Dobro, nije da se to može tako gledati.
A dobro, a koliko, kako se ne može tako gledati?
A ne može, zato što je svaki put novih 12 za sebi. Možda on overall na 30 mečeva ima bodova dosta. I ih ima u pravom trenutku.
A koliko mu pravih trenutaka treba da zablista? I realno sa...
Seeing this turn up this quickly, second place in the first game, a dominating win on this one, that is a massive glow up. In the lobby, it's not the easiest. Yes, there are some teams that I think are struggling, but they fought hard.
I gotta say, this is
extremely top heavy. Look at this. We have 6
ima baš loše mečeve. Isto izvlače bodove. Ali ovo je sad trebao biti njihov.
Ne, nego Twisted. Nisam vidio kako su. Mislim da su neki nade-ovi, da su dobili. Dosta se koristi utility, baš.
Yeah, you bring that up, this idea page, you know, past IGL for Heroic, you were talking about to me during the green room.
2021 second place, the only one that are able to contest New Happy in the very top of the leaderboard.
And ironically, New Happy
utility je jedan od glavnih stavki koji razdvaja.
Dobre
trenutke. The stress levels over on the right side where Twisted Minds has only gotten 11 after 3 games. Foot has 7. Legacy with 2 home circles walks away with 5. That about sums it up. Now we're going to Tego. There were allegations that SSG would be suffering a hot drop potentially in here.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I feel like
I don't know how much we can share, but there was a scrim game where they agreed on a let's fight for it. So they dropped into Gatka and took a fight.
I kad skontaš da su oni do jutro za 12 igrali skrimove.
Vežbali, ja?
So we'll see if SSG plays the gentleman's role and chooses not to make the attack because no one's attacking
them. Dobro, sad to je posao. Dođeš, vežbaš, jedeš, legneš da spavaš, ideš opet na posao, radiš drugu smenu.
Da, nije to sporno. Meni je sporno samo što...
Koje su Americi, gledaj ti druže koliko, a kakvi su ovi spojevi? Ovo je minijaturno, ali dobro zapravo nije neki kvalitet.
Ili oni nisu, ili su samo uštekani i to je to, znaš, nisu podešavali ništa.
Pa pitanje koliko mogu da podešavaju live to. Pa mogu.
We have left the cold, frigid tundra of Vikendi behind, and we are greeted by a scarecrow here in beautiful, lush Tego. Luscious. Verdant? Yeah, maybe more Erangel thing. I don't know.
In any case, that Scarecrow sure was scary looking, and right now that's kind of the NH eSports that I'm seeing. That's the Scarecrow of the lobby with how they just performed in the previous one. I was worried that seeing them get a really good game on Erangel to kick things off was kind of half contributed to the circle, just heavily going their way. This time around, though, played into it from the east, managed to take control of the side of the circle. They dictated the pacing of that game by taking the fight to Sonics in very NH eSports fashion from games in like years ago as the desk broke down. I'm worried if I'm anyone else right now trying to contest against this NH eSports, because they do play it. They play it slow, they take space, and they spread out wide, and they have now contested both Twisted Minds and Foot in 2 games in a row where you're like, hey, we're not used to having these sort of teams on the edge with us. We have kind of this truce that edge teams spread out, they take control, they just play it slow in. We're not used to having to fight teams in the early game in the edge. But NH eSports, they're taking their kind of center strats to the edge of the circles.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up a great point. They're actually well, there you go. Why not? Once again, get a little bit of circle luck on the way up to the north. As it's looked like they've been taking their edge positioning, and then they're just pushing out. They're taking the fights to everybody else rather than the fights coming to them, which is kind of what it felt like was happening to them in Winners Bracket. It felt like they were just getting third and fourth partied, and they weren't in control of their own destiny so much as they were just trying to survive. Now this is New Happy. This is NH back on the hunt. They are the predators once again.
And it's so interesting to me because I said
ne znam kako su stavili
in the group stage that you always have this
kamere, jednostavno mi nije jasno. Koji je ovo source, šta je to? Onda je to u OBS-u ili nešto, ne znam kako prebace u igri na igrača i pokaže se kamera baš njegov.
We are pretty damn good at this game. Let's go out and actually play this style.
Mislim, ja gledam kako bi ja to napravio, ne znam kako bi to napravio.
Just push and shove us the way that they please. Let's actually try and take some control, and they have done it successfully now. And I'm hoping to see the likes of Foot, the likes of Twisted Minds, start going out and play with that control on the edge as well. Because again, it's difficult to do when you lose players in the early game. But maybe that's just you saying, just rotate together. At least for the first circle or two. I know it's not something you'd normally do, but if there are that many kind of swings in how other teams are positioned and things you just can't prepare for, at least if you're 2-3 people there, you can try and respond.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's
znači misliš da naprave bind?
Are maybe overanalyzed a little bit coming.
Možda na stream deck.
Too complicated, and as you said, a New Happy. Just we saw with Petrichor Road, right?
Da, znaš šta je fazon, što ti in-game nema 64 binda.
You know what, maybe we're giving too much respect to the lobby. Maybe
za obzerv kamera slot, znači taj dio mi nije jasan.
We do it so damn well. Let's get in there and start killing people. Worked really
great.
Znači
ti imaš 64 igrača, a in-game imaš samo 16 obzerv slotova.
Let's see where Twisted comes along.
Za 16 ekipa, znači ti možeš bindom povući po jednog igrača iz svakog tima.
It's always so awkward fighting south to north on this island because of all the hills that could easily house multiple teams just there ready and waiting for you. So it makes perfect sense that Pentagram opts to go
znači ti imaš 16 timova, vidiš lijevo na tablici. Svaki tim ima 64 igrača, to su ti ove crtice. Razumeš? Sad meni je jasno da ti postaviš shortcut i da ti u OBS-u vuče source kamere kako klikneš shortcut, da ti on tipa 11, ovo što si pričao. Znači taj dio mi je jasan što se OBS-a tiče. Ali mi nije jasan kako binduju oni igrača in-game, jer ti u observe settingsima, znaš kao imaš settings i mouse sensitivity, tako imaš key bindove i u key bindovi imaš sekciju observe. I tu imaš observe, 16 observe slotova. Znači možda staviš od 1 do 16. Znači nema 64 slot.
Halo, evo me.
A ima 64 igrača.
Sve pričaš ti.
Ne, nego gledamo kako stave kameru pored igrača svaki put.
Pa na stalak neki, iza na stol.
Ma ne to. Ne, stvarno, već ja to pitam. Jevo ga krut. Možda ima više obzira, ima... Ima više obzervera, to je nemino. Ma preko 20 obzervera.
U produkciji kako li stave sličicu pored igrača?
Da.
Ja mislim da su tu svi računari umreženi. Vidiš kakvi su ti konektori na tim kamericama.
Da.
Sad da li svaki igrač... Da li svaki igrač imao tipa OBS kod sebe ili tako nešto, pa ili prosto mu samo
pa da onda vuče njegov source.
Vuku sa računara, tako je, da.
To jasno mi je za OBS, ali mi nije jasno kako in-game, jer in-game imaš samo 10 ili 16 obzir slotova. Jedino da nekako su povezani svi, pa onda da svako šalje po 10 ili tako nešto.
Aha, pa može biti da su podijeljeni u više grupa. Više timova kao po... Ovo je skakući.
Little unlucky. Of course, it might not matter at all, but it also could be that 1 second off the rest that had you not been knocking the early game. Yeah, exactly. They're pretty far apart.
It prevented them from being all there for the Gen G rotation. Yep. So there you go.
Sure did. It's the small things. It is the small things in a game of PUBG that changes whether you make amazing plays or...
Ma to mi je jasno, nego mi nije jasno kako razumiješ, kako se u glavnoj, znači na kraju dana, kako se u glavnoj produkciji, kako lik koji je main observer, koji ne samo observer, nego koji je glavni tu producent, kako on izvuče od Igora, kako od Vuleta.
Most of these teams now where I'm looking not many.
Kao obzerver možda gledaš sve njih, možeš da gledaš sve njih, ali možeš da binduješ samo njih 10. Razumiješ? Sve ostale moraš 54 ostale igrače moraš manualno.
Of the Northwest Island that much yet in competitive PUBG. It's always fun to see new terrain being put to use, see new players kind of out of comfort zone having to go, oh wait, there's a rock there, oh wait, there's a dip there. Of course, they have done their scouting, but before you get to try it in a competitive environment, it's just never going to be the same, because those one or two rocks that you flew around in observer mode 3 weeks ago and saw, they might not be the first thing that springs to your memory when you're trying to survive.
That's true. To može broj tima,
you know, we talked about how wide split and how much edge was being taken up in the previous 3 maps. Now all of a sudden
pa može li biti da tipa, znači, koliko 10 observera može bude maksimum u game?
Može koliko hoćeš observera. Nego 10 observer spotova, svaki observer može da ima bindan.
A dobro, znači složit ćemo se da će mu povećati kvalitet spekca ako bude prati samo 5-6 timova.
A ja kontam da je na 20, ako ima 20 observera, da jedan observer prati samo 3 lika. Znači nije to sporno uopće. Nego mene zanima kako onaj glavni producent, jel, koji diriguje svim tim, kako se vuku ti source-ovi, to ne znam čime se radi. Razumiješ, kako on dobije 20 sliku, 20 observera kod sebe i ajde kako dobije, ajde taj dio možda i lako se sredi preko web browsera, jel, preko web link. Ali mi nije jasno vrti kako on diriguje s tim.
Pa vidi, oni su prvo u lanu, drugo ima veliki monitor sa vjerojatno dešavanjima, kamera 1, 2, 3, bukvalno su mu bindo, tipa ovih, koliko ih ima spektatora, observera 10, ako svaki drži, ne znam koliko može. 5 ljudi, 6.
A ne može, jedan obzir ne može više od trojice, ono da se sve isprati. Nema šanse.
I vjerovatno ima sliku od svakog od njih i onda prati tako prebacuje na najnezanimljivije dešavanje. Imaš, slao sam ti onaj za streamu, za produkciju, onaj uređaj, sjećaš se?
Da, može.
16.000 16.000 eura što košta, što ima više onako kao...
To kad...
Ja bih ga mikseta bukvalno ide u miksetu, razumiješ, i sad ti puštaš koji hoćeš finalni source da bude, može, kao OBS, bukvalno OBS ti je virtualna ta mikseta, ti imaš takvu digitalnu, kad su svi u lanu, oni mogu to da rade tako.
Da, pa to je to što me zanima, znači, da li postoji neki uređaj preko kojeg on šalta sve te obzerve?
Ono što sam ti ja slao, to ti je to za produkciju, ne mogu da sjetim kako se zove. Probat ću da nađem, i mene zanima sad, ali to je taj uređaj. Možeš tipa da 16 source-ova da imaš tu, ti kad vučeš zajedno 16 source-ova, znači imaš neki preview svako dešavanja svega, na primjer na 2 velika monitora i onda možda prebaciš, kamera 2 prati dobro, evo sad fight ovdje, idem tamo, stisnem kamera 2, puštam to na glavnom ekranu.
Da, može.
I ti kad podijeliš obzerveru 10 slotova, to je po čoveku tako 10 slotova.
Da, po obzerveru.
Ali obzerver ima 10 slotova za ljude, tako? Znači nije tim, nego čovek. Eto, znači 10 obzervera može lagano 6 ljudi da prati.
Ma nema šanse. Jedan obzerver ti može pratiti maksimum 3 čovjeka. Ali dobro, zato ih ima 20 jebi.
Naći ću ja to. Mislim da sam te na Instagramu.
Mislim, ja to sve pitam, jes DK, to tako funkcioniše, ja samo pitam kako to funkcioniše sa tehničke strane, šta koriste od mikseta i to. Mislim, ja kad radim obzerv ili cast sa 2 kompjutera pa je zajebanci, a ne oni sa 20 kusu. A kontant imaju opremu brutalno.
LZ, it looks like he'll survive for now with 20 HP. Yetan Mu, the only one that gets picked out of the air by some nasty shooting from Ming Ming.
See December 12 already now starting to flex out again. NH eSports don't want to have opponents nearby if they can avoid it, so goes up to peek on over, but now getting shot in return. I think that's him realizing, you know what, we tried to deny them the access. They've come, they've claimed it, fair enough. Now we know. Let's play with that info in mind and just see where the next circle takes us.
All right, well, kind of taking stock of the situation here. 12:50 in, 58 alive, 15 teams still up. And we've got one big care package drop right in the dead center of the map, kind of near Genji. Doesn't look like they're too terribly
Sonics
now have the north side clear to
Slike
themselves. They push through. Now
Dobra
Legacy
ideja.
is slightly ahead of them.
Kažem ti da pita neko kod ovih što igraju.
Taking shots
da
over
uvate sliku seta.
RBN is kind of looking down in that direction, and New Happy still keeping eyes over towards Tyloo, but it looks like Tyloo's running. Genius have made their way over.
Da napravimo za BPL.
Foot is right there, 8C in that direction.
And again, for all the teams that said it's about how much space do you control. Sonic's very, very pleased with that northern shift, especially now they know that Tyloo left control up in that northern side. In the meantime, now 8C.
Da, mi to sigurno možemo napraviti ne možemo u tom formatu,
ali 3-4 možemo.
Pa kažem ti ja da treba da napravimo tako neku produkciju. Ali imam ja neki plan, imam ovdje neki prostor koji sam planirao da sređujem svakako. Da ozvučim dobro.
Pa ne kažem tebi.
Now the circle has pushed away from this foot, start to push right up onto Zest, right up onto the rest of them. This is being third partied by question mark from the high ground though.
Zbog interneta.
Oh my god, this is open. I'm not gonna make that.
Pa nije niti bilo. Joj, 6 helta njemu.
That's him just completely denying that angle of approach, and I think Beamy and Vard, yep, they realized they're like, you know what? There's literally no way we can push this without being torn apart. We're gonna be running out in the open, and we cannot waste that utility now because we've got the next circle. We have more important matters.
Ali dobro, 30 bodova, ajde.
Seen Foot made the decision to leave and just disengage from a fight before. Right now it looks like T-Bone's just gonna keep eyes on the rest of the board.
Ili imaju samo sreće sezonu.
Pa i jedno i drugo. Ima i Twisted je dobio 2 puta zonu koju SG pa ništa nisu radili.
Što se raspadaju, šta im ne odgovara?
Ha, nemam pojma.
A lot of circle left to cover as Veronica 7 just kind of hovering on the edge here.
SSG opet ima sun. Jer oni ovuda mogu da se provuku. Evo ovuda.
Ne vidim ja sad mapu. Tek možda meni nije refreshan dobro.
Pa nije, ja gledam drugi stream samo mapu.
A pošalje mi i taj da kod.
A samo ukcaj uđe na Twitch i ukcaj mapu. PUBG mapu.
Are you gonna get them to safety, or is this gonna be the downfall of V7? There they fly!
Oh, they just get away. So much damage. Tosi will get spotted out. Beamy's still sending shots over in that direction. Vard as well. But they're not going to get any more. But that damage has been done. Tosi will go down. And now, Veronica 7 going to have to make a landing wherever they decide to
dobro, bitno je samo da smo zaključili da kameru stave na stol pored njih ili iza njih.
Ne, nisam ja razumio kompleksnost pitanja.
They're pulling right in between D plus Kia and Legacy, but they get away with it.
Kad se igraju od kuće, kako onda rade sve to što i... Pa ne rade, nije ista produkcija kad je online i kad je LAN, to sigurno.
Ne. A vidio si bre na kamerama kakvi su konektori?
Jer PCS koji se igra online nema istu produkciju ni blizu.
Gdje se igra online?
All looking down in that direction. Dante now trying to take the fight to Chewy. Gets him low, but doesn't get the knock. Ixlef will push up. He will do the seat swap. Won't find the knock. There it is. He gets Dante down. Ming trying to provide some support from range. Now Genius getting involved, stealing the kills away.
Such a nice off-angle position there from Ming. Ixlef
finds
best luck again. They are just unstoppable up close. We saw in group stage them struggling to coordinate these engagements. They got the momentum going. They figured it out in the losers bracket, and they're coming in hot here. These close quarter fights, Petric more often.
Može. Šta kažeš, Vur?
Kažem, svi AUG igraju.
Da. Vuče se, kamera se DK vuče kao web source. To sam ja, kad sam vukao obzervu, ne znam da li sam Adriju sam obzervu. I onda sam vukao kao web source kamere castera. Tako možeš ući svih igrača, samo ti igrači moraju share svoju kameru.
Sad to ko ima dobar internet, ko želi, ko od kuće kada je, ovdje su jebiga kontrolisani uslovi dosta i ne utječe toliko ni na performans. Njima ako ova kamera nije na računaru, znači oni ako imaju samo igricu pokrenutu, a kamere ne idu, znaš, onda je to...
A i nema, pola ih nema kamere, ovi koji streamuju ovaj...
A da. Ćao.
But in the end, they come up victorious. Yes, they lose one, but they get rewarded with 3 points off it.
They get, I mean, you're losing one off of being surprised by the Southern Rap.
Vidiš da im kasni kamera.
Igraju AUG jer nije update, pa i kad bude i sa updateom je AUG najjači. Bez obzira što je 2 update-a dobio 2 puta nerf i dalje najjači.
At this point in the game, 18 minutes into the game, trying to
use razlika nije toliko očigledna.
Gledaj ti bre na koliko on spreja bre, šta je ovo?
Again, the edges here are going to be burning as everyone is trying to fight their way through, push their way through on foot, but it's just not possible. There's simply too many teams that manage to lift their way through the early game. To make space for all of them here in the game. SSG now the ones in the chopping block first, 2-1's fallen down already.
CC108 and Ming doing the most here. CC108 eating some blue damage.
SSG u problemu, mada mogu da pogledam da ostave uz
SSG will find him Page. Will get the
spray. Riko je težak. Ma je, to sve stoji, ali dalje ja ti govorim samo damage statistički. Znači ne govorim sa o tome da li ti ćeš pogoditi ili neš pogoditi. Nego samo što se tiče statističke strane damage-a, time to kill za AUG-a u mid i late je manji. U early jedino bolji bet.
SSG ostaje da. Ko je SSG?
Ne znam. Falcons as they push out and they manage to finish off Ascend. Now they have to turn their attention towards Gen G. Petrichor Road now. They find Tai Lu up against a wall. And up against a tree more likely. Shen gonna get finished off by Ming. That's 4 kills now for Petrichor Road as they try to fight their way in on this south side with the blue at their back.
Yeah, how do they go about this? Do they try and wrap back towards the southern side? That would be the play, but I'm not sure they're aware of the opportunity to make a run in that direction. They have Tai Lu, they have Veronica 7 and D plus Kia ahead of them. It's about picking their poison here and figure out where they want to go.
Kia, though, they look like they're going to be paying attention over to their western side where Gen G and Falcons are fighting. They are in a perfect position to do a little bit of third partying. Emmy not
I Ascend je sad 2,5
Gen G is still working around the edges, trying to find the angles.
Uzeli 3 kila I umre.
They are, as you said, in a perfect position to do a little bit of gatekeeping here from Petrichor Road and Tai Lu, but it looks like they just the angles.
Pa gle, prošli na primjer meč imali bolju zonu. Možda njima treba teža.
I'm loving that we're seeing these pre-smokes being set up by Veronica 7 as well to deny any third party.
A brate, nemoguće da oni ovoliko loši igre, oni će proraditi 100%.
They had to make moves, and Veronica 7 in a perfect position to counter those moves.
Mi nikad nismo gledali turnir da oni nisu bili u finalu.
Follow it up with a grenade as Petrichor Road trying to push it right into V7's face.
Tai Lu with the sneaky push around the side. Someone might have seen it though, and now with the flush coming through, that info will be fed across. But Ixlef went aggressive, Glasgow caught in the smoke, maybe instead the trading, but the damage has been done. And there they go, both V7 and Petrichor out.
Absolute thievery on the part of Tai Lu. Perfect timing for Xiao Yang and LZ as they come up at the exact time that they need to collect some points, steal away some kills. And Falcons and D plus Kia, they are fighting on the southwestern side. Gen G has been taken out, and now they are squaring off 4v4.
Yep, I'm seeing D plus still all 4 up here, trying to hold off, of course.
To imaju dobru zonu.
Falcons off the knock on to Silson, and now
potencijalno 4-5 fragova lijevo dođe.
They saw the kill feed pop off, and they know that they have a better fight at their hands towards the east, but they're going for a vehicle play here.
Oh, they're trying to get in the vehicles, they're trying to push in, but Tai Lu, they might be in a perfect position to take advantage of this once again. Xiao Yang and LZQQ, can they pull off the sneakiness? They sure can. Immediately 2 knocks come through. LZQQ will get taken down by Menudo.
Ali nema Tai Lua još, samo su dvojice.
2-1.
Sonic sti, brutalno zonu. My twist.
Spiros,
Able to get one, and that is going to be downfall of Tai Lu in the end of things, and also lots of damage done towards D plus Kia, who is sat with just 1 left alive. Keep in mind though, Page got his 6 first stage. He is still alive and sneaking in.
How is Page still alive? And Sonic's meanwhile, they're sitting on the north side of the circle after finding out and defending it from Tai Lu, and they've just had nothing.
Zna on iza koga da igra, jel?
They just keep getting the circle. 1 kill for them so far. We'll see what they can do for the late game here. As Perfectix will that'll be 4 kills in the bag now for Twisted Minds. Falcons still creeping over from the western side, but no angles to be found.
Hello. LFC, LGC.
It's been a quiet game for them, but they haven't really had to do a whole lot. Now they're sat with a perfect position from where they can really just apply non-stop to all these teams.
Sonic Shield Twist.
The southern half.
Page still alive as well. You can never discount the fact, the impact of a potential solo.
Sonic ne moraju ništa da rade do...
Manje više izgleda će FLC da se bije sa Twistedom,
Da. Nego su u sandviču, možda i ovi Legacy.
Ko će prvi umreti, Legacy ili FLC?
I pitanje šta će Page uradit. I on može izjebati Twist.
At keeping track of that kill feed, but has Page's survival slipped their minds? Has he gone unnoticed? That could, as you said before, Poro, be a huge backstep and potentially cost.
Ovo je prvi tam naputi igrač od onog Benjinog saigrača.
Da. I to su 2, ja mislim.
As he's slowly creeping up, and now Legacy doing the most.
They're trying to come up
here
and take the fight to Falcons. They're getting shot in the back though, but Page does strike. He takes down Lu from Twisted Minds.
Will that be enough damage though to deny them a potential?
Da, ima u LGC.
Page 65, probudite ga. 65 puls.
Ne se. Batelik će zaspati bukvalno.
Skino je Page jedno ga istišti da i živi i dalje.
Ovi Sonics i doktori. Pobite se vi, mi ćemo poslati.
VHG will finish off DraftKings. Legacy trying to send it towards the center of the circle. The last bit of hard cover remaining.
Bukvalno i Sonic je tamo Adrian, da. Gledaj koliko je on duboko tamo odnosno na njegove desu.
Oj, dva nejda.
Joj, skino im još jedno. Dobar nejda.
The damage that you have done to Twisted Minds, you said that they are so good at clearing their back. But right now, Page is doing so much damage to this Twisted Minds team. The knock, they're going to maybe get the res here. Flashbang's coming through. He's looking to see if there's anything there. Page going to creep up over the top. All of Twisted Minds just ready and waiting. But Toland will save the day as he gets the knock in the flush. Goes off the rest to get the flush and comes back onto Perfectix with one tick left.
Ali dovoljno je da ne mogu vina. A možda, ne znam da li mogu da se provuku do ovih dropova.
A H je već tu.
Eto. Nije ih pobio sve, ali mi je uzeo šansu za vin.
Ako se LGC pobije sa Sonicsima, što hoće, to je možno.
Što li ovo ne ide?
Mislim, glupi su ne ide.
Ali, brat, idu kao Furija, bukvalno.
Furija, brazilski tim, ona.
A jebi ga, skontaj da svi imaju čiste helmete i veste, brat. Ništa nisu potrošili.
I'm liking the aggression, but I'm worried that it might just be too soon.
Samo da H-Win ne pa. Pa da H-Win.
Pa ovo je njima trebalo, ovo im jedina šansa.
I eto je ostao solo onaj kapitan.
To je Vuklis. Jebe kako mi se
Mada i dalje im je težak teren.
Opet, a opet. Dva su preživjeli solo.
Dignut će ih sve, jebot. Dignut će ih sve.
Da.
Ima da.
A samo zašto je ovo jedan živ.
Da. Pa H-Win ok je riješio njima ulaz. Jebot je živ.
Kao guja.
Dva noka na...
Samo
da ground, brat. Jaj, prste mu proradio.
Ma dobili su ovo.
Nedovo ima Spiro, brat.
Dva još.
A brate, oni ako nemaju 4 u svakom trenutku dobijaju otkaz tamo. Ali... Možda rano bacaju ovaj utility. Šta ja njima pričam, ljudi su pogo utility.
Back up to 3 strong. Perfectix will finish off H-Win. I believe actually he just bled out.
3-3.
So now Sonics have that ridge
Sonics
line
ima
to work
bolju
with. They've got the center of the circle.
A imaju bolje veste sigurno, ovi nema ništa.
Sonics need to slow this thing down and wait for Twisted Minds to have to get into a disadvantageous position.
Da je Spyro ubio Eagletona, sve bi bilo već.
Da, malo je fali.
A koliko je to, znači ta granata je pola sekunde ranije eksplodira.
Batulins. Može li Batulins?
Nemam šans.
Idemo lo Spyra po glavi.
To peak at the same time. They don't want to give this one up. This is a free win for Sonics. If they can find him, they will. Kickstart will flush him out, and Sonics get the victory.
Malo su zakomplikovali, ali...
Svi koriste Rogue Dulk, ja?
Da.
Šta je to, podloga?
Ovaj bre.
Šta?
Ovaj bre, kako zove ovo? Sad ne može.
Podloga.
Evo ti ga. A šta je ova bijela? Ova bijela.
Ne znam. Lu nije došao na turnir. Kunem se. Lu nije došao.
A možda je bio koronirao ili tako nešto. Možda je bio bolestan se, prekladi se. Kako su mu dozvolili da igra? Od kuće?
Koga? Nisam slušao, šta si pričao?
Ma Lu, brate, baš loše igra.
A šta vole priča nešto od kuće?
Ma ja razumeo da nije došao na turnir.
Ma pa nije. Fizički jes, ali...
Ništa ne radi.
Lut je juče je bio winner, jesu. Juče je na 4 meča 4 puta umro prvi.
Vidiš da im loše ide. Dobro,
nešto ko Tibon danas.
4 games, 3 of the chickens go the way of the Americas region. They're going to be pretty happy about that.
I gotta say, I love this area and terrain up here on the northern side of Taco. It creates so much potential there, and it can accommodate so many teams. It's like Stalba-esque ending, right? But still, you have so many ridges, so many kind of small areas, trenches, stuff to be played, and yeah, it's just beautiful. Again, Sonics.
Dulkel, stream i dalje Balkan Grounder.
Ne, brate, zašto svi ljudi pitaju to šta se dešava? Šta nam je sa bratom Cojica, nikako da se čuje, mislim. Radi ono je lampe i to, stolariju neku vidim da radi.
Da, pravi ove lampe što pišu.
Znam, ne gledam stream. Ali znam, sam reći, pokazivo se.
And Sparrow's nade on Tiggleton. Just 1 inch too long.
Because it was his flank that sealed the nail in the coffin. 100%.
And then again, Capitan, third party, and then you have a knock there. But yeah, huge opening here for Tiggleton. They're able to wake up, and this is exactly what Sonics needed for that mentality.
Po 2 meča odlični. Mi za jedan i drugi nisu vestima.
I think they were a little frustrated when they got here today because there was so much sort of up in the air about the drops. They were obviously not happy with what happened at the end of yesterday. That 17 dropping into the...
Dobro je da su i dode preživjeli, imali su i Page-a, imali su posle i Eichina. Ko ih je još na posleđa isto? Ne, na FLC.
Kapitan.
Da.
A recite mi, jel vi pratite kanal na YouTube-u, sad mi izašlo Manga Crypto FX?
Meni te šalje svaki put kad izbaci novi klip. Šalje mi na Discord. Vrać je postao Fiat Trader.
Update za BTC opet očekujem Geronimo dole. Malo padaju proigrači, to da vidim.
To ti je 45 minuta klipa, moraš naći gdje ubiju.
Because of the 411 damage to 3 kills.
You know, it's fascinating because it is. I think that's a big one for them. You mentioned this sort of PGC finals experience. I think that asterisk that has been applied to their PGIS performance is a chip on their shoulder. And the fact that they are targeted, they may struggle and be in this stage has kind of been frustrating. So they want desperately to get to that PGC final so that they can say we are the best regardless of how you feel.
7 i 6 bodova.
Falcons have a good game here, and that's what I like to see from these guys. They're able to step up. Legacy 8, they have this home turf kind of advantage with the army base on the northern side.
Ovo je fiktivni lik, ovo ne postoji 100%.
49 after just 4 games, that is really impressive. 41 on NAG Sports. Sonic's able to jump up to 38. We now have 3 kind of sponges in the very top. Even if you're B7, fun ping on 6 points. One good game, you're going to be into the top 8 quite easily, so it's doable.
That's a great point because the sponges have been ridiculous up on top. To have both SSG and New Happy already at that level is very, very impressive. So let's see if the sponging continues.
A cijel klip on ubija, znači da se razumemo, to je sad napredak, nijema ono nešto van toga.
Da lutaj tu.
He by himself just looks like a PGC MVP with how he's been handling the fights in this series.
For sure, and I completely agree with you. These teams that are kind of having these big names, the rivalries that are happening as well, you want to make sure you are not getting that situation at you right now. The hot drop can't happen. Like if you're on day 2 and you get hot dropped, you're gonna get broken. 47 points Sonics have after one day, right? If you start getting hot dropped on focus, that's where you're very stark.
Well, we're gonna find out as we head to our last 2 matches of the day in just a few moments. It's time for the Dusty Dunes, so don't go anywhere.
Jedan vs 4 GG dođu na Nishon ko na Redeku HH ode mara Laki i stiku i skvadnu. Aha, sada ima Lakija.
Otad je Laki počeo loš da igra. Ušao mu je manga.
Ušao u glavu.
Da.
It's possible. Enjoy great selections, promotions, and privileges.
The power of possibilities. King Power.
Hanuman's forces have set up their barrier. They are waiting for sunrise before they release their guard.
Za Derek uzeo. On je moje godište, brat. Ako ovo 9-7 godište. Verujem da jest. Aha, evo.
Jesi vidio novu Wooting HE tastaturu? HE plus nešto.
Kako se smeje, brate, ali moguće ovo? Snip Zec, Raid, Marković, Kinga, Kecno.
ยืนหนึ่งมันไม่ง่าย แต่ไม่ยากที่จะทำ แค่ตั้งใจและสนุกกับมัน
เท่าแก่น้อยตอบโจทย์ทุกไลฟ์สไตล์แบรนด์สาหร่ายยอดขายอันดับ 1
ถ้าสาหร่ายต้องเท่าแก่น้อย
If you've been yearning for the sun after yesterday, please check your flight schedules to ensure your travel plans.
Why did you come to us? Stand your ground.
Stand your ground.
It's only a perfect victory when the whole team lives. I know where he's going.
바로 정중앙에 있는 거. 오, 좀 어려운 질문이 나왔는데요. 막내를 잘 이해해주는 좋은 사람인 것 같습니다. 제 기준에서. 당사자 장곤씨 컴온 우리 둘이 어떤가?
Americano. Koliko danas ima
상상의 듀오라고 생각합니다.
gledatelja na Hayatu? Na Huja TV-u? Hayatu. Ma ne znam, ima 10 miliona makar. Den do WC-a. Malo prije sam gledao, bilo je blizu 11 miliona.
他们的战队都叫我木哥。大哥的意思。我们见到他要鞠躬。
やっぱ選手をしている自分がやっぱ一番楽しいなって思って戻ってきました。頑張りますので応援お願いします。ファイティーン。バイバーイ。
everybody, welcome back once again to this first day of the Last Chance qualifier. We have 4 games in the books. North America has been showing pretty strong, Toby. We still got 2 more left to play on Miramar to round out the day, though.
Yeah, we still do, and plenty more games to be played tomorrow as well, of course. One thing though, because we are not even halfway through this last stage yet. I feel like part of the reason why these 16 teams are where they currently are is because they've all had their ups and downs. The teams only with downs are already out of the tournament, but these teams have at times shown that they're worthy of grand finals and at times shown that maybe they're not. So even for the teams who are currently ahead, you gotta keep that momentum going. It ain't over yet, and none of the teams have yet to claim the amount of points needed to be on that cusp line that we like to think of it. So if they don't get it going today and then maybe 0 out tomorrow, everything's still up for grabs.
Absolutely. No one is yet safe and no one is yet out of this as we head into Miramar for our final 2 games of the day. Let's see who will take home the coveted 2 chicken dinners. It has been 3 North American teams so far today with victories. Now, who can collect a little bit more here? Final game of the day.
Yep. Well,
final 2.
We will see.
That's what it is. Not final game yet.
The final game.
I'm excited, Toby. I can't help it.
Exactly. Final game with a Z, not a Z.
Stop.
As we head on over to Miramar, this playing path arguably as fair as can be. The only teams that like to go up towards the northwest, also as you can see on this nice drop map, have places they can go down towards the south. So they should all be very pleased with this. I'm not expecting to see any contested drops. Having said that, we do of course have a Petrico and Twisted Minds who are kind of globally famed for having fought over Power Grid, but as you can see here too, it's just going to be Twisted Minds up on Power Grid with Petrico out very, very early up towards Cruz de Valle.
Genius and Legacy also hot dropping Chupas there. Now I have heard in the I was given information that and you can actually see it as well, that Genius is a team that will put their drop locations in the chat, in the drop chat, and then just never say anything again. So you have no idea if they're going to hot drop you, if they're going to change, if they're going to do anything. You have no clue. I feel like that's some absolute Chad energy, and I appreciate it. But it does look like Genius will see Legacy dropping Juma, and they will instead drop points towards the east. So that will avoid that hot drop for the time being. Gen G, meanwhile, already on the move up to Monty.
This is an interesting circle. I had a point I wanted to make, but I wanted to wait until the circle popped to put emphasis on it. In the previous game and the game before that, we've seen Gen G up to buy for center
if you thought of spicing up your branding,
wide split strategy.
I did, my friend, but I'm
what I hope to be more teams
too small of a streamer to invest anything in it.
We've known Gen G for many,
and my knowledge of it is very small.
Roster that PO finds himself on, he will force them to
so making it by myself,
doing his own thing in the early game, but
0 chance as well.
Seeing the whole solo PO doing his PO thing, we're not seeing here at all. Gen G, they're playing control, they're playing together, they know the dangers that are ahead of them, and they're seeing some of these other teams that are spreading out in trouble. And also we're seeing Batulans stuck in power. This man has probably looted this place. My guess is somewhere along the lines of 1,000 times before. The fact that he's right now stuck there tells me that he has never gotten stuck in that position before. Because if you do, he'd go out. Can he get on a vehicle? Can Spiro punch him, knock him, and then maybe that gets him out of it? Can he jump on the car? Come on, Spiro, you got this. Press F. Batulans, press F. Further. F. Maybe. Any Fs in the chat for Batulans? Further. Further, Spiro, you got this. F. F. F.
Opa!
There we go. The savior. Even Batulans is laughing as they get the safety.
Čuje publiku, Batulans. A? Pa Batulin se vrać streama, ne mogu ti to opisati, moraš to vidjeti. Zaglavio je si ovaj došao bajkom da ga pokupi. I onda navijali svi.
Would have been tough. Well, that is using what you have at your disposal as we see question mark trying to do a pickup. This is them all the way on that eastern coast. We'll see where they decide to take that. Falcons, they're making their way in. South, they're passing just off to the east of El Pozo and just north of a burly-looking sandstorm.
Them with plenty of space but limited scouting opportunities as they wrap north around a direction I would imagine many teams going in. Again, I know I preach to the choir of those of you guys who already know this, but for the ones of you who don't, have the map stream open. It's all kinds of great to watch Wicked run around and do his looting thing, but also have the map feed open, because right now you could see exactly how Falcons rotate, and you could see Petrichor slowly starting their rotation game, and you can kind of get a gist of how the next couple of circles are going to play out based on where all these teams currently are. Because if we look at the split, I know it's a southern circle, but if we look at how many teams we have on the northern side, Poro, and on the southeastern side, you'd have to imagine that Petrichor, maybe Tyloo as well, Foot eSports too, and for sure Falcons are going to be wrapping in from that northern side to this circle. As I say that though, Tyloo are opting to backfill Space Station Gaming, so that could potentially be a fight in the
Space Station Gaming.
Enhance your viewing experience with maps.
Da, brate, finali, prva dva meča back to back, u treći 7, u četvrti 6 bodova.
Bro, i New Happy-a, i New Happy juče je završio zadnji.
No, danas kidaju.
A danas, ali nema veze. Meni pojeni idu. Ušao sam u 973. sam trenutno.
Opa, a koliko treba top?
100? Top 300. Ali je tim dobar mi je sad. Sam da mi je Young malo napravi pojena još. O, Glorious minus 9 pojena. Jebem ti.
From previous games here, not a bad map for Sonics here. Not a bad map for NA teams. This is generally, if you ask teams from North America what their favorite map is, it almost is always going to be Miramar.
It's always like that with the NA guys. Whenever you ask them their favorite vacation spot, it's Cancun. Everything that's with Mexico, you like tacos as well. I mean, everything that's got to do with Mexico, it's just got NA written all over it.
As it should, as it should. We are very culturally. I don't even know what I'm going to say.
No,
tacos are great. I don't care if you're European or from Asia, Asian countries,
there are a few things that the
Asia.
world can agree on.
Tacos are amazing. That is one thing that they can agree. All right, Azle Pentagram coming in from the north side. Now, nobody in front of them. They are kind of hugging the western side of this circle as well, and they look like they're going to get away with it. QM does finally land, and they are landing just north of Vidamar, so not trying to send it center, not trying to get too greedy, but instead going for that high ground around that valley.
Exactly, Adam and Pentagram, as you said before.
Jebote, ništa od onog bota ne radi.
We know it because we have access to the map feed.
Neće da propira.
That there's literally no one in front of them. It's only question mark further down towards the south that could be there to contest them. And I like the fact that Pentagram is wrapping this far west, because if, again, I know that these players aren't overly superstitious, but a lot of these circles have hard swung west in previous stages of the tournament, and we always go into the what's the circle algorithm on this patch and what are the tendencies and all this and that. And for Pentagram sitting up on the western side, I think that's them preparing for what they hope to be a lot of western circles to come.
Indeed, indeed. So we see Petrichor slowly making their way in. They're kind of following the same path that Falcons did, although Falcons, Silzen, still just slightly ahead of the rest of the boys. Ming has Chewy right there with him. Ike's left very far behind. Foot also coming in, but they're coming in from the western side of Pozo. So we'll keep eyes on that northern side to see if they get any closer. SSG, meanwhile, they're going to, instead of hugging the coast, they'll cut over to the island and make their way up through Vidamar, most likely.
Yep, we'll see now Falcons straight through the Pentagram split. So far, no commotion. Hikari actually allowing them through as he continues down, and then Golden Mirado. A little, I feel like that should have like just 2 miles per hour extra speed, something like that.
Would you drive a golden car? It feels kind of
I feel like it's very vulnerable, mainly because gold is very soft. So if you crash, I feel like that's just...
Well, let's call it gold-plated.
And heavy, too.
Well, it would be heavy. I guess it wouldn't be as fast, would it?
Yeah,
so how are you going to ask for 2 miles an hour more speed then?
Because when it's downhill, the heavier it is, the more speed it that's gravity.
Okay, well, I guess we'll go with downhill then.
Yep.
Well, you're just acting like everything's all downhill, and this is a very obvious answer all of a sudden.
For some of these teams it has been so far, and well, we'll see if they can make something of it. Worst timed...
Šta je, futbaleri loši nešto, no?
For foot, because yes, they can drive and without anyone seeing them, but they also cannot see anyone else, and they're in a position right now coming in from that northern side where they really just want to stop, scout, check further forward. Then go to that next position, stop, scout, check further forward. And that sandstorm ain't exactly making that any easier.
Yeah, and Falcons get thrown a little bit for a loop by that very close confrontation with Pentagram, and have now sent two down to the south. They've left 2 up to the north here, DraftKings and Emmy, so a big wide 2-2 split. Some are now arriving. This is Petrichor's leadoff man, and he's getting very close. Actually, not the leadoff man. He's a trailing man. He's cutting a little bit farther off to the west, so unfortunately doesn't follow the route that his scout laid out for him, and Summer pays the price.
And again, you can't really fault them for taking casualty there. Normally this wouldn't have been the case, but again, Foot eSports stopped by the sandstorm, has to set up shop for a little while. Because of that, the timing just off for Summer on that rotation. And as you were saying too, because the Falcons are split the way they currently are, it's making things a little more difficult for Petrichor to make their rep on in. But of course, Emmy hearing multiple vehicles now approach from the eastern side, that's going to force him off, so there is going to be some place or some space to play around here for Petrichor.
Yep, it looks like they're feeling comfy as we wait for the circle to pop, and it does, and it centers immediately on well, pretty much everybody here. It's not going hard to the west, not making things confusing. Instead, just playing about as basic as you could hope for. We've gotten a lot of good circles today. As, we haven't really had the huge hard shifts so much this time around, and that's a benefit to pretty much everybody.
See shots being fired towards Foot. A little dangerous, actually, considering the split that Falcons have currently got going. In the meantime now, Petrichor opting to pull up on this one. Little did they know there was a team here ready and waiting for the Mikeslip. Currently on his own, trying to fend off DG98 as he's waiting for his teammates to arrive.
Oh, DG98, he does have Songjang with him. The grenade coming out of the window will fall just shy of Chewy71. They are slowly wanting to make their way in here. Big damage that time, but the rest of the gang has arrived, and now you gotta wonder who's gonna third party this. Pentagram does get eyes on Ming, so he won't be able to join this push. It is just a 3-man, 2-man push for Petrichor Road as they've already lost Summer. Ikeslip will find DG98 though, and that might open up a door here.
Ikeslip just does not lose those. I mean, regardless of the fight he's up against, if it's a 1v1, more often than not, he will have the advantage in that fight. Sean-Yang trying to peek on out again, trying to delay a little bit. PO perfect angle for him. They know exactly where they have Ikeslip now.
Mada Pero se drži, znači bukvalno ih nema, ali 7. su. Ne znam kako ti objasniti.
Ade mi mindri, jebote, jedini kojim donosi dobre pojene.
At 11:33, 16
znači ja ni rak mi pao, već i dosta mi Glorious.
Of players going down in the kill feed. We've seen Falcons, we've seen Foot. They've lost one at least, maybe 2.
Evo 3000 G-coina, kod.
3000 G-coin code, get that in there. That's a big call.
Kako ne vidi, nisam u Švici.
A brate, šta se tripuje, Ergovice? Ne bi ga uvatio.
And again, as tricky as this circle is,
ne radim,
osim ako nisi bota.
Ne
radim.
Ne iza kopira. In the center of this circle, the just very much flat dead space that you can't really utilize because you got 2 big mountain peaks on each side. As difficult as it is, it's also a circle that all these teams have been through a trillion times before. And right now, the way that I've seen teams split up, Twisted Minds in the exact spot I normally see them in. Foot in the exact spot I normally see them in on this circle. D plus Kia coming in from the northeast side as well is very D plus Kia style of playing this circle. As tricky as it is, they're all aware of, like they all have a plan for this thing happening. And right now, it seems like the majority of these teams are effectively rotating in to play.
Pa I ja idem za programir, ali on je on sam se uči.
Sonic's playing from Chuma, that high ground. That's something that we're used to seeing from them. Legacy playing for the late game. They've got the low ground. They're going to wait and see if they get a little bit of circle of their way as we check on the replay. Yep, Foot and Falcons running into each other. And Foot lose Vard, but Falcons lose a lot more.
Sure do. Sure do. Foot now on the western side here, trying to scout down south. Of course, again, as long as we have these mountain ridges in the center, you see where Ascent currently is, where the southeastern side of Legacy is currently split. As long as we haven't fully figured out which side of all these mountains we're going to end the game in, teams aren't going to fully commit to moving until they know, great, it wasn't my side, now I have to make a play. That's why you'll see teams opt to sit edge longer than need be, as we now center up on Ascent on that mid mountain line.
That's a Twisted Minds.
That Ascend currently holding. We'll see if they keep that 2-2 split going, or if they instead opt to play 4 strong. They're going to get some company here very shortly, as Twisted Minds already making that rotation down. Gen G also looking in that direction. Immediately, oh no, that's not the time to get a knock. People are pushing in. Got to get that back on. It looks like Ascend.
He's a Sonic.
Go for the res just yet. Kilyakai just going to turn his attention, making sure that Twisted.
Yeah, the Ascend is a Twisted Minds.
Very, very low. Can he get away? Yes, he can.
First he gets stuck in power grid. Now
Ali,
he
Twisted
gets
Minds
to
been
run
a
out
problem.
of that one. If there is a game that's kind of wanting to keep Twisted Minds alive here,
Stvari, ja volio svi ove koje imam da prođu.
Logično.
Koje imam u timu.
I ako je moguće svaki po 20 kilova.
Pa da, logično. Ja gledaj sad min gubi, a? Jebem li mu majku, kada ja ne stavim. 10 kilova.
No, Ming. Da ga ne stavi niko. Pokira noga.
I ovi iz Space Station.
Get everybody back together. Page is going to join the rest of the gang. Roth has been left behind. Meanwhile, Genius making a long wrap up to the north on the east. They're going to eat a little bit of blue for their trouble.
Yeah, I mean, it's rather suicidal to try and drive through Chumacera.
Ali ja sam bio na blef stavio ovog Glorious, ali izgleda da je dobar u pičku. Glorious ovog. Na blef sam ga znači stavio u loser bracket onda. I brat su potjedio.
Little do they know. Kupio sam neki croissant u Lidlu. Znači najbolji croissant nikad.
Using that to escape. Meanwhile, Twisted Minds very, very close here. I don't know if they know Americano is right on their doorstep. His teammate from range, Zenith, keeping them interested.
Yeah, still DMR's in hand. They have no clue when is he.
As I was.
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh, Flashbang just going to let him know you're there more than anything. Yeah, he's got 4 frag grenades in his pocket, but he does have support from his teammates on that high ground, so he should be able to escape this fairly cleanly. Although now Genius, we were talking about their rotation, they're starting to pull in here.
I feel like Americano, just like he's halfway through his single-player campaign, and just kind of mid-campaign ups the difficulty by just going, you know what, I can play it on hardcore mode, we'll see what happens. Loves the flash on over, will be able to get out there safely though. As you said, Genius opting to set up shop on the northeastern side. Veronica 7 though starting to look in that direction. Issues, I think V7 is well aware.
A što već zovu Veronica 7 kad samo V7?
Just fully commit to looking towards Genius.
Vjerovatno je Veronica 7.
And hopefully one going in that direction.
Yeah, Sonic's that high ground in Chuma while V7 will play in the low. Okay, this one will hard shift off to the north here. Legacy still feeling comfy on the low ground in the compound. Ascend would like to be able to get back together, but they're trying to hold off Asl Pentagram. Meanwhile, SSG going to send it right into Legacy. They've got one down already. Roth going to get taken out by Gizera. He'll get flushed out by VHZ. SSG, the rest of the boys inside the compound. Now Page has been taken out. A shotgun has been picked up. Will it matter though? As Sharp Shot's down, it's all down to Pixel as Legacy is held strong.
If you're going to make a play, I'm loving the timing that they're pulling up now, because look at this. 2 other teams are starting to go in this exact same direction. They know that it's a split, but somehow Legacy still stands strong.
Try the Glorious, try.
So quickly that they can actually fully focus towards the north as well. Now they have Sonics there to help them.
Tower defense working out in full favor of Legacy as Pixel.
Lidl ima nač. Lidl, ja obožavam Lidl. Nema šta nema i oni kisela mlijeka, jogurt, svi oni mliječni proizvodi, brutalno, sirevi.
Ode Glorious.
I slatkiši isto. I one smrznuti, oni proizvodi. Ma nema šta, meni najbolja prodavnica.
The fact that Legacy doesn't lose a single player in what effectively is a 3-team pull-up is insane. One crosses over to help, they leave the other player upstairs. Great understanding of where these pressures are coming in from. Really, really smart play here from Legacy to keep all alive. LFP is kind of on an island right now with Sonics on the other side. And with now V7 shooting from afar to all you, I mean, just go to the bathroom and wait this one out. Just find a shotgun, sit in the bathroom and chill.
That's all you can really do. LFP's got to be careful here. Utah will spot him out from tries to take the emergency pickup up to the north side. Unfortunately for them, they're going to run right into D+ Kia, who is ready.
D+ Kia.
2 knocks, 3 knocks. Foot eSports eliminated in 14th place.
Yeah, had to send a Hail Mary.
Aj pa ćemo gledaj. Kad dođe u španska, italijanska, nedjelja stučan 60.
Gledaj, LFP će sad popiti sve ove. Neće.
Ja od kad sam se preselio, meni su na 5 minuta, bukvalno svaki dan idem tamo.
Zest will make his way across, but he's going to get knocked low. 777 will actually get the knock, and Legacy is defending Sonics right now from the push by Genius.
Maybe they're like, don't steal our knocks. The nade is there too! RPN takes him out. That's going to allow for the reset for Sonics. First, they... I mean, just don't play with your foot like that. You can't both take him out and save him. It doesn't work that way.
Oh, Sonics. They have to owe Legacy a beer for that one because that was almost disaster, but they managed to reset with 3 up. Now we cut back up to the northwest side where Asla Pentagram did the long wrap. They were trying to push in to ascend. They ended up having to come up to the north, and now Twisted Minds will have to hold them out. The circle does shift back down to the south. It's going to favor Legacy, Sonics, and Ascend.
This circle is incredibly difficult to play, and I don't think I've seen this. It's like exact split in a very, very...
Ostaje mi još Perfectiti i Yao Yang. Živi.
Ko ti je ostao?
Perfectiti i ovaj Yao Yang.
Aha.
Stylua.
Stylua,
as they now try and wrap their way further towards
Spiro.
Spiro finds Emmy. That's yet another snake dealt with.
Falcons are out in 12th place as Hikari will heal up. Oh no,
oh,
Perfectix. Did he have it cooked nicely? It went a little long, doesn't matter. Wicked is low enough. He'll go down. Perfectix gonna lead the charge as Akkad holding the line. Another one comes through as Adder will go down. The rest of Twisted Minds, they're crashing, collapsing. 3 kills already. The flashbang will put things on a pause, but not long enough. Hikari down to the last runner up for Pentagram.
And this underlines what we were talking about earlier, how when Twisted Minds are 4 players alive, they can play exactly how they want. They're only able to do this because Batulans is sat further circle center, holding off. Lou is there to help as well. That allows for both Spiro and Perfectix to sweep around the side and full-on engage. This is pretty much natural for Twisted Minds, and they're showing it here.
Predatora vata
is coming alive on Miramar. Twisted Minds have to make their way in. They are getting third. They're getting shot at by Gen G. Meanwhile, D+ Kia on that north side, the low ground. Veronica 7, they had to make a decision. They went to the north side and they pay the price. D+ Kia.
Batulin za 2 kila.
Jedan. For yourself, D+ though the next hurdle for Twisted Minds to have to get through, unless if they opt to take the fight to Gen G, but that is going to have such a big disadvantage to them that I can only imagine that they try and send it down straight south instead.
Serd ide na rez, ja gledam gdje ide ovaj Amerikan, on na rez ide.
Ne odera u autopokut.
And eventually, or well, real
soon, they're going to deal with
those threats too.
They've got the high ground, and that's what matters most for them right now as Twisted Minds continue to hold on to the high ground for as long as they can. Looks like D+ Kia was able to retrieve Menuda, the non-player, get him back to join the rest of the boys. A doozy gets knocked very low by Kiljakai. Ascend just farming damage up here while they can, and yep, question mark counter.
Ne postoji tim za koje jače navija. Dobro, ako nema ovih naših. Ali...
Ako nema Balkanac. Ovo ide sad na Gen G.
Can't really go down towards D+ Kia. They still have a little bit of space inside the circle.
Ajde, Batulina,
further up here, but with shots being fired, you see it instantly. PO 180s goes back to support his team up in the church.
Yeah, Twisted Minds.
Taj luk reša sen.
A nemoj, dobro neće.
Neće. Kako su stali tamo, evo te, tamo ih svi vide. A ne vide. Nice. Ali nju Happy ih vidi.
A valjda ima i smokova.
A i ne vide ih baš.
So frustrating for Ty Lu that New Happy just exactly has an angle behind that ridge line.
Evo Shen,
deny them to spread out and take control. Shen will see here, had they been just 10 meters further towards the north, there would have been so much more space for Tai Lu to work with, but not quite the case. That vehicle is going to blow up, probably fly down the hillside too. Shen will fall because of it. Elsen almost taken down. CC from miles
Ali brate,
away,
kako
finds him
uzimaju
through the
kilove,
smoke.
ja ne razumijem.
Across the valley and through the smoke, CC-108 gets the knock onto LZ.
Nek ja Jan samo leži. Ovi nek pomiru. Nek neko leži samo.
The smoke has bloomed in time. Fortunately enough for Tai Lu, Ascend has not flexed out from their hardcover position to try to take advantage of that yet. Although they are starting to creep over towards the west, they are interested in question mark.
Yep, they can't make a play when there's still two teams up next to them. You can see here, I'm loving the use of blue zonates if that's what was being lobbed on in to try and isolate, try and force them to move back, and that isn't indeed what's being used. In the meantime, now here comes the push on the other side. Spiro down, but that's the question mark on the other side. That
Opet on
could
koristi
have
tilted
been
levo.
all done for, but no, it falls a bit short.
Best of
Perfect.
luck, giving a little bit of support to Gen G here as the push comes through. Pio will find two with the grenade. He'll get the flush with the car explosion, and now Twisted Minds just down to Lou, hiding in the smoke as long as he can. Might be able to get the res onto Perfectix. Will refresh that last smoke, but Gen G, they are wasting no time. They're going to come out here, try to flush out the last one. Lou hiding in the smoke. Song Jiang looking through, trying to see what he can find. DG98 tries to run him over. Doesn't matter as he will find Aduzi actually going to be the one to find.
Pa njih treba
nice pickup by QM.
I ako treba Genji da ih ubije. Volio bi Genji.
O, ispade. Kradi, kradi. Niš ne mogu slow. Postoji još jedan. Ubio ga Jan.
10 kills now for Legacy. Absolute tower defense has come through for the boys, but they now have to find their way across the street. Sonic's looking down there, Tai Lu looking down there, although Tai Lu actually...
Ali jedan smoke nisu bacili na vrata gore.
Yes.
Di je?
Eto gore unutra. Da. Samo ovi dozoći. Question mark ih. Chris Nokan.
QM actually giving a little defense to Ascend here as well. They find an angle from the side, do some damage. LGC trying to make their way across the road through the smoke cloud. Gizera has been taken down. RBN goes low. BZ going to get spotted by Win, and that's going to be it. Sonic's pick up Legacy.
Great hold there. You have to kind of think that it's Legacy that allowed for Sonic to stay. Push came through from Genius. We'll see now who comes out rewarded off this game. D+ Kia opting to wrap around, trying to set up jump outside of the compound that Sonic has control of. They can only do so because they know
Gen 6.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Ako uzmeš 3 kila, možda stati 5.
Could have allowed Genius to finish off Sonic, but instead they killed Genius, and Sonic's able to get back up to 3 strong. Let's see what happens here on the high ground. Ascend getting picked from both sides. Tai Lu, question mark, all have angles onto this. They're doing their best. Kickstart actually going to spot out Zhengu from D+ Kia. That was the last player remaining up on the north side to kind of scout out for the rest of Kia.
That's an unlucky player to lose too, because they have the other 3 down below. It's, I mean,
Al finale će biti zajebano.
Holding their back, trying to set up for when the push does come through, he can shoot them from behind, but peeking a little too aggressively there. And also, I mean, in all fairness, didn't really have a whole lot to work with, especially not now that Gen G's down here.
Oh, and now Pio it's shooting ducks in a barrel. Never mind. H-Win gonna do some defense there as he finds the knock on to Pio. The push now comes through. Ascend trying to defend their house against the push. No, Tai Lu will finish him off with the double barrel shotgun.
Still
alive. Never mind. He actually survived it. My bad. I got a little confused reading the kill feed there. QM, not getting involved in this just yet. Sonic tries to push out of their compound. But D+ Kia ready and waiting.
Pa vidi, ali se
They get the res up on Pio, but now that allows for D+ Kia to go out and make an aggressive play towards Sonic. Sonics are the ones who have to make a play, but now with the res coming through, they're instantly setting up once more. Kick with the FAMAS, able to find Americano. We'll see if he can get more.
2 grenades still in his pocket. Americano going to go down. Songjang actually going to find Zenith, and now Menudo, the last one, will get spotted. Songjang going to be the one that does it. Gen.G now up to 7 kills, and they are in the driver's seat on this high ground.
Oh yeah, they definitely are. Chris peeking towards the eastern side. They know that they have question mark right next to them, and because they're looking towards the east, that's going to allow for question mark to push further forward.
In the end, but not before picking up a nice stack of kills for themselves and finding themselves in second place. Gen.G just
Gen.G živi. Ovaj, question mark.
And question mark with the blue at their back, they're going to eventually into Gen.G.
I said it when the game started. Which Gen.G are we going to see? They fended off against multiple teams. Now PO finds Chris as well. They are looking to take full control of this circle. Phil first falls 2. Just one player left alive on the side of Ascent with Killiak. He has smoke to work with, but it's a 1v2v4, and Gen.G looks to take again full control of this.
It has been slow sledding for Gen.G all day long today. They've been playing aggressively, but a doozy going to have the angle here. He's going to find EG98. Now PO has spotted out the rest. They are playing with the blue right at their back. Maybe QM. Can they pull off a miracle? A doozy tries to go out, but he's going to get spotted by PO.
Oni izgube još dvojicu, ne mogu izgubiti meč.
Be the end here for question mark.
He was the trap, but the trap wasn't really. I feel like there had to be at least 2 knocks coming off.
Šta je ovo? 13 kilova cheating.
And there they go, down they go. Gen.G full control from start to finish, taking out Petrichor, taking out Twisted Minds on the pull-up, and then slowly but really thoughtfully pushing their way up the hillside and dealing with the rest of the lobby too.
And they hold off, as you said, so many different attacks on so many different angles. Just complete control demonstrated on the part of Gen.G. A huge victory for them. It's been a slow day. I think they came into this game, I believe, with only 10 points. They were sitting on the lower half of the leaderboard. This is going to be a great boon in their favor, playing at the end of the day here, trying to set themselves up for tomorrow.
A lot of positives to take away from this. Legacy as well, the fact that they're able to fend off the way that they did. I still feel like Ascent could probably have gotten a little bit more out of that game than what they ended up getting, but we'll see. They can maybe turn that into more coming into the next game.
Tough stuff there. We've only got 1 game left to play. Let's throw it over to the analyst desk to prepare us for the final round of the day.
From A to Z, Gen.G worked hard to come out with the chicken dinner at the end of that match. Let's take a look at the journey. It's highlights time.
From G to the ENG, it's Gen.G, baby. They had 10 points going into this.
That's it.
And we said it, and I said it.
You said it.
With 1 good game, you can jump into the top 8. That's what Gen.G did.
Dreams really do come true.
They do indeed. Legacy, though, they are able to pop off, and this compound in the lower ground, I actually thought it was going to be the focal point of the match, but they're up in the high ground. That northern shift saved everything.
You know, their jerseys, they got new jerseys. There's a big script on the back that says, "This is our legacy." Well, this is the America's legacy that we expected to see show up. They played well, and they even rescued the Sonics at one point. The drop shots, LFP was killing it. Rabin, amazing. I mean, everybody on that team was fighting to the bitter end. Ultimately, they did lose out because that shift became very difficult for them with the Sonics on the inside. But great game for that team.
Yeah, super good game. Of course, Gen.G in an early fight as well, they're able to take that northwestern control. And the fights, and with everything that delayed with Ascent and question mark as well, also lined up perfectly. With the D+ and Sonic's fight too, like if you had a team low ground and you didn't have anyone to focus you, they could be able to kind of push up and actually take some things away, but they got denied. And of course, some shotguns in the very late game here. The sawed-off had a huge
Gustav
impact.
was furious. Now, I will also say we saw some great plays from Twisted Mind in that match, but it came down to the end here as Gen.G goes to the high ground. Question mark down to 1, and it was just a matter of time until they could isolate, separate, and dominate. Gen.G comes out with a very big win, and I'm going to be honest, seeing PO put up those numbers, PO on form is good for PUBG, and I love to see it. Welcome back to the desk. My name's Toppies. I'm joined by Avenger here as we break down the action. And there's not a lot of action left today with only one more match in Miramar.
One more Dusty Duner.
One more Dusty Dunes.
That's the big one, right? We're going straight to the top 4, and of course, it's going to be 13 kills on Gen G. Question mark, with a lot of decent placement here. They've silently been kind of getting a little bit of these points here and there. Sonics, though, they're able to get 7. Legacy, 10 kills. They're able to hold on. They're able to defend the compound. They're able to step up here. They've had a little bit of a rough situation for some of their drops in a wrangle, but they're able to step up on both Tego and did a little bit of good things here. And we get into, almost 1,000 damage.
Almost 1,000. I'll leave it at this with Legacy. They finally got something out of a homish circle.
Right.
Now, let's take a look. PO, 951 damage, kills 6, knockouts 6. This is the PO. Let me look at that smile. Feels like he knows. Grin. It's like they said, we're going to put this picture up there when you dominate. He gave the perfect look for it.
Yeah, I like that. It's a good picture. The grin. I'm coming back for grand finals, baby. Imagine if this is what you're building your dynasty on, right? So 23 points, 3-way tie on 11 points for question mark, Sonics and Legacy, or LG to the C. As Paro put it.
LG to the C. I like that. DK also getting some decent numbers. Ascent able to put up some. Twisted as well has been on this sort of slow grind with consistency. And we
on the back of Perfectix and Batulins, honestly.
Yes.
Spiro, of course, also had a huge game. All the boys.
It's wild what they can do when Batulin stays alive.
Tie.
Yep, tie at the top of the leaderboard. So it's not a leadership change just yet. But right now, SSG and Sonics, the two North American teams standing strong together at the top of the leaderboard.
From 23 points on 14 up to Genius on 27. It is 4 points difference from if you're 14th on Ascent right now to make it into top 8. It's not even a good game. It's just a game.
And on top of that, those teams need to have a big last game because SSG and Sonics, who are at the top of the board, were both threatened by other teams with hot drops at the start of the day today, which means if they have a good game coming in tomorrow, they can choose to play Kingmaker. They can choose to get vengeance on those who were hard on them. And so I think if I'm in the mid-pack, especially if I threaten those hot drops, I need to have a good game right now.
If you're on 45, 50 plus points after one day, you're updating your drop spots to be going to where you want to go.
Absolutely.
If the teams you're contesting is on the bottom 8 with like 10, 20 points easily. But it is, again, it's close. We have one more game to go.
One more game.
And with, a double-digit win, you could put yourself into the top 3, top 4 quite easily. So the question is, who's going to do it?
Absolutely. I want to see Ascent here doing a great job of trying to climb back up as best they can.
Ascent the ladder.
Shout out to their coach, Koval. He put together some incredible drop maps today.
Thanks.
So thank you for that. Yours as well. Very, very nice.
This was wrong.
Sonics here. They were down. They stepped up. I saw Gunnar in the back hallway after the last game. He was like, oh, man, we needed that. And it felt good. You could see that on their face. Osla Pentagram also came to play, has been putting in some work. Let's see. Get ready.